And it is show time. Barbers.
Showtime.
What
Barbers, what
up,
up?
Bill?
What up, Mar?
How are you feeling, dog?
Man, I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling super.
I'm super.
I've been ready for just to have this dialogue with you. It's been a minute. I think the last time we got together like this, I think it was ClickFunnels
Yeah. When we set up right in the
in
middle of the
Florida,
event.
right? Yeah, that was like 10 months ago.
Yeah. Yo, Paige Styles hopped on and said it's 8 p.m. Barbers, for those of you that are tapped in right now, what's up? Where you guys tapping in from? What's up, Barbers? Let me know. Drop your location in the
Drop
chat.
the location. Let me see. I see my man Chase on here. What up, Chase? Chase definitely know the vibes.
Where
My
Chase at?
man.
Chase comment?
Yeah. Chase said 100. My
Man,
man Kevin Baez is on. Kev is my man.
let's go. I'm actually going to set this up real quick, too, so that
Page
people
of
who...
Styles. Page of Styles, what's up?
All right, well, let me see
Said
who
he
we
want to
got.
attend the school. Okay, we got some Florida. We got Houston, Texas, Cali, Chi-Town. Oh, we got a little bit from everywhere. That's what's up, man. People rocking with the vibe. I like it.
Yes, sir. They're going to start tapping in because the notifications will hit, too. I'm going to load up my live real quick on IG to let people know we're live, too, real quick. Boom. Let that rock for a little bit. So, Will, bro, you been
What's
seeing what
good?
I've been posting or what, man?
Yo, I've been loving it, to be honest. I'm the guy sitting there reading it. It's probably getting a whole bunch of attention because I spend so much time on it. Because it
So
just
you,
connects, man. I'm like, yo, Marv is hitting it on the head right now. You've been in your bag, man. Just speaking the truth for real.
yeah,
Just speaking the truth, man. Things that need to be said. There's so much, I've been so frustrated with what I've seen with a lot of people. And it's not that they can't do things how they want to do things, but it feels very manipulating.
yeah.
It feels very manipulating. There's a difference between motivation and manipulation. And we definitely gonna get into some of that tonight for sure.
So what was one of the ones that really stood out to you where you were like, yo, I'm glad he said that because that's what I'd be thinking. I gotta hit up Marv. Which one of these was it? Does it stand out to you?
One of the ones where like these barbers are like not taking walk-ins in between clients, right? That was something I seen that you posted where you were like, yo, like they'll have like a 15-20 minute window
This
before
one
each
right here?
appointment. Yeah, that 5 to 10 minutes they think is super disrespectful. Yeah, and it's like I used to tell people all the time, like, yo, your client will wait 10 to 15 minutes for you. Like they be holding these spots that are 20-25 minutes away. Like, oh, I got an appointment. Like, I don't want to cut this walk in and then miss out on a walk in. And then you know what? Every time what happens, the client they were holding the spot for cancels or runs 20 minutes late. So now you didn't want to give up the 20 minutes, right? You wanted to hold that. And they show up 20 minutes late. Then that's 40 minutes. You could have done another haircut. And you wonder why your pocket is short at the end of the week, or you need to charge somebody $1,000 to make up the difference so you can pay your mortgage. Like it's absolutely insane. And it
Yeah.
happens at least a couple times a week, no matter what barbershop you're in.
No, facts. And it was funny because I might have said it in the video or I might have said it on a live. I don't remember, but I was saying like, or maybe it was on the podcast. So yeah, a live, I turned the podcast, but is that same type of thinking? Like, how are you going to feel when you got somebody that is walking in that you could fit in, and you fitting them in may lead to you being, let's say 5-10 minutes late for your next appointment, right? How are you going to feel if you choose not to fit them in and then they end up going to another barber, or they just end up leaving the shop in general? And then you get your client in the chair and y'all start your conversation. And then you say to them, yeah, somebody just walked in, but I had the appointment. So I told them I couldn't fit them in. So, they ended up leaving. And then your client tells you, oh, that's no problem, man. I could have waited, like, how are you going to feel?
You're gonna feel like and some of them were just gonna be in denial and be like, yo, it wasn't even that serious anyway. But the reality is like that's a way where you can make more money. Like people need to really learn how to leverage to get the most value out of their time. Somebody already books margin for error in their time, right? If they come get a 30-45 minute haircut, they're booking an extra 15 minutes just in case you run late. Use that when it's necessary.
Yeah.
That's what I always did. I used to be like, yo, I'll be right with you in a minute. I'll be right with you in a second. And that leads me to like another point there, right? That you hit on too. Speed. Speed is what gets money in any business. Technology, for all that it does, the number one thing it does is speed. That's why it's worth so much money. I be seeing people hour and 30 minutes. Bro, if I went and got a haircut and you took an hour and 30 minutes, I'm never coming back.
Yeah, right. Right.
I don't care. I don't want to sit that long. Like people think people love being at the barbershop or in some suite for an hour and a half. No, they don't. If you told them, look, I could get you A1 in 15 minutes, they'd be like, bet, I'll pay double. People do it every day. People pay more money for convenience. Speed is the number one thing people care about when they talk about in terms of convenience.
Yeah. And I think where we get confused is because we're barbers and it's our job to be in the shop all day. So we think that people just want to be in the shop all day just like we do. And it's like, no, they don't. They got so many different things to do. Like you said, they make that room for that margin that they can margin of delay or pushback that they can accommodate. But aside from that, they got things going on. So yeah, they can afford to be a few minutes late. That's going to be cool. But if you think that they just got all this time in the world to sit there waiting for you and to sit in your chair for an hour and a half, their drive to you is 20 minutes or so. So now we're looking at 20 minutes to you. You're running let's say you're on time. You're one of the barbers. You're on time because you want to fit the walk in. 20 minutes coming to you. Now they're in a chair for an hour and a half. You up to 2 hours, and then they got to drive 20 minutes home. It's a 2.5 hour trip. A lot of people don't got that time, bro, especially the ones that got the money to pay. You know what I'm saying? What are your thoughts on that?
Let me speak to. I'm so glad you said that, right? Because this was the number one thing I used to tell all new barbers when I built my first shop, right? This is exactly what I used to tell them. I used to be like, yo, the average barber, right, doesn't make money until Thursday night at 5 o'clock. This is why historically barbers always come at like 12 o'clock and work till 8 o'clock. They don't do nothing until after 4. And here's why. If you take the average American, right, let's just talk about average. I don't want to talk about the anomaly. I don't want to talk about low level, high level. I want to talk about the majority, right? The average person works a 9 to 5. Can we agree there? I would say yes, right? 8 to 4, 9 to 5, same story, right? They have a 30-minute or 1 hour lunch break. Right or wrong? Right. If they take 10 to 15 minutes to get to you and 10 to 15 minutes to get back, they have 30 minutes to get a haircut. I built an entire business doing 30-minute haircuts. Today, if you take an average haircut price at $40 to $60, $50, $30 in some smaller towns, but a larger city, $40, $50, nobody's going to cry about. If you got done in 30 minutes, you make $100 an hour. At $50. Regardless if a person says, oh, I charge $100, but take an hour. It's the same thing, but it's actually better. You think it's better. Oh, I'm not doing as many haircuts. Bro, an hour is an hour. Whether you're cutting 2 people or 1. If the clippers is on, an hour is an hour, right? But the person that you save 30 minutes and you were able to service 2 people, and those 2 people are easier to replace than the one person who's willing to pay 100, you doing 2 in an hour versus 1 in an hour is 10 times better.
Can you go in on that easier to replace? Can you dive deeper into that? Because I think that's a big point.
Okay, so let's go even further, right? If you look at the statistics across America, right? The Census Bureau, right? These are the people who got all access to the banks and all that. They know how much money people got. Let's just call a spade a spade. Everybody you know got a bank account. And if you don't and you got money under the mattress, you're the anomaly, right? So let's talk about that for a second. The average person, 8 out of 10, doesn't have $500 for an emergency. Something happened to their car right now, they got to call mom. They got to call dad. They got to call their brother. They need to get a loan. They got to charge it on credit. Right? So if that's the truth, and that's 80% of people, 8 out of 10, how in the world are a majority of people going to pay $100 to $125 a haircut if you take an hour and a half? They already don't have $500 for emergency. So they're going to pay $500 a month for a haircut? Now, but some people do. You need high-level elite clientele. Cool. Everybody isn't LeBron James either. It just is what it is. You need to get that level. I'm not saying you can't. Let me be very clear. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not a believer in impossible, right? It is possible. But what I'm saying, the percentage is so very low that you'll stress yourself out trying to get that when there's an easier formula that can get you the same result. Right? I know it sounds cool. Oh, I'm $100 a cut. That don't nothing but feed your ego, but it lightens your pocket. People with little egos usually have the big pockets. People with the big egos, pockets is real tiny. They look good. They sound good. But 8 out of 10 people ain't got no money. Do you think they in the 2 or you think they in the 8? I would bet they're in the 8. That's why they're trying to sell you something.
Barbers. My man will be going in. And I agree, man. I agree on a lot of what you're saying. And, you know, I would add that one of the points I always love to make to people is if we're in a room of 100 people, bro, right? How many of those people, like you said something about this the other day I seen, like how many of those people in that room are going to be willing to pay $100 a cut consistently?
Right.
And then you're going to have
I'm going to go in on that real quick, not to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Let's think about this $100 a cut, right? Not every business model fits every culture. I want you to pay attention and write this down, please, for those of you listening. The person who may be able to pay $100 a cut may get their haircut once a month. The person who needs to get a haircut because they're rocking a shorter style, who wants to get cleaned up every week, they may need to pay 30 or 40. I know people that pay $100 to get a haircut. Some of them pay me. Some of them get a haircut once every 3 weeks. Hey, Will, book me every 3 weeks. I'm coming back. Because that's their hair. They rock a longer hairstyle, right? It's easier for them to just buzz it on the sides, do a little something up top, throw some gel in it, slick it back, and they're fine. That's fine. They don't mind paying that. They get their haircut once a month. So they're spending $1,100, $1,200 a year. You telling me the person paying $100 coming every single week? The chances of that are slim. Yes, there is going to be somebody who does it. But you see these guys, man, they get online, they cut the same one person. Oh, he gave me 100. He gave me 150. That's not the norm, no. And then when that person moves, or if they're an athlete and they get traded, you know how hard it is to replace that kind of client? Well, you could just use social media. Okay, cool. Instagram changed the algorithm. Now what? TikTok go through legal trouble and have to scale back on certain things. Now what? You're putting yourself at risk at somebody else's demand. That's never smart. You want to put all your eggs in one basket? And then I don't mind that, but I damn sure don't want it to be the smallest basket.
Yeah, I agree, bro. And it's funny because I was just talking about this earlier. I went live on my IG earlier, and I was talking about how there are some barbers in the industry right now that were fortunate and unfortunate to get into the industry after 2020, right? They came in when everything was inflated, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, shops were closed, barbers weren't cutting, shops were being all weird. Everything was just different, right? So we were at a spot where barbers were valued simply because people hadn't had haircuts in a while. It was harder to get haircuts. So the demand for a barber was so much higher, right? So these guys got to get in the industry when people were paying higher price points, dealing with more than they normally would just because of the situation, right? So they're, you know, 1, 2, 3 years in now, they're used to getting paid these prices, right? So they have this small clientele. They're getting paid these prices that are a little higher than they probably should be, right?
Yep.
And what I was saying is, being only a couple years in, they haven't even experienced the client that moves because they get a new job, or the client that loses their job, so now they can't come get haircuts, or the client that gets in a relationship, so now they're getting haircuts less frequently, or the client that goes away to school, or like you said, the client that gets traded, right? And I brought this point up because there's so many newer barbers that will take shots at the OGs because they've been behind a chair 12, 15, 20 years. And my argument push back against that is they've been behind the chair 10, 12, 15 years. They've made it that long. Whereas a lot of these newer barbers that are happy now and are getting these higher prices now, a couple years in, as everything starts to balance it out, are you going to make it to that 5-year point? Are you going to make it to that 7-year point? Are you going to be able to sustain what you have going on right now? Because this new thing that so many barbers are trying to create because of this inflated stuff is not a proven strategy, right? Where there are proven strategies that are in play that have kept barbers behind a chair with clienteles for 10, 15, 20 years. What are your thoughts on some of that?
Well, if an OG barber, right, has been cutting hair 50, 20 years, it's not that he's been cutting hair for 15, 20 years. He doesn't know how to make it out. He lacks financial intelligence, not barbering. You know what I'm saying? He's not like, people get online and they start talking like being a barber for 15, 20 years is a bad thing. You do realize most people work 30 years, right?
Yeah.
Most people work 30 years. Most people do. It's just, like, unless you invest your money into passive streams, that's ultimately going to be your reality. Doesn't mean you can't make a solid living or even an above average living. You know, only 10% of people in the world make above 150,000.
Say that again.
Only 10% of people in the world make above $150,000. And then the next 10%, hold on. Then the next 10% make over 100,000. So 8 out of 10 people make less than 100. Now you can easily get to 100 off of $40, $50 cuts. It's a great time to be a barber. And if a barber tells me you can't live off of $8,000 and $12,000 a month, that's the sweet spot. You probably can get to 15 if you really, really got demand. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying to act like you can do that off of just getting a couple people a week and working once or twice a week and all that. It's not realistic. It's better to have a lot more people that are easy to get and pay $50 and get faster yourself to become more efficient to make that money. It's this. At the end of the day, the results can be the same dollar amount.
Right.
The method of getting there at 50 versus 100 is so much better.
Like visually, as you're saying that, I'm picturing us in a room, right? There's barbers. Let's say there's a set of like 10 barbers in the room.
Right.
And there's 100 people in the room. Right. And because of this new phenomenon of barbers charging these higher prices, let's say 8 out of those 10 barbers are on the newer wave where $85, $100 a cut, right? In that room of 100 people, we're going to have a bunch of these barbers fighting over the 2 or 3 people that are going to be willing to pay that. And then you're going to have the other 2 barbers that lean more towards the expensive side of the average, we'd say, right? Like the premium version of the more normal price point. You're going to have these 2 barbers that are going to just be scooping in all of these clients while these other barbers are fighting over the couple that are in the room. And it's just crazy because we have so many barbers thinking that we can just have a whole bunch of barbers charging $100 and $150 a cut. Like everybody's just going to do that and it's going to raise the price and everybody's going to have to pay it. No.
Yeah, no, it's not.
People are going to be flocking to all these other places because 98% of people just want a regular haircut that more often than not, they can do themselves. You think Joe that gets the 2 all the way around, is going to continue to pay $80, $100 a haircut? Come on, bro. You know, and it's
it's crazy, man. I see people like, oh yeah, I'm gonna give you a steam towel bald head shave for $100. I'm like, bro, stop it.
Yeah,
Joker can do that in the shower. You spraying him with some sea breeze in a foam misted bottle without a label on it, like cut it out, man. That's what I'm saying. Like we water down the game when we get gimmicky, right? We get super gimmicky trying to know your worth. And I hate that. When people give you a game plan, give me an actionable step. You can't just tell me know your worth.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Any business, I don't care what business it is, demand determines worth, not your label because you focuses on self right now. So you feel like you worth 100 because you just tapped into your intellectual self and you just know that's what you worth. That's not a good, no. Yeah. People do what the market tells them to do. Right. And if you want to go after the top 3% and only do that, that's cool, but we can't act like that's the norm for everybody. That's manipulation.
Yeah.
Right? People get one client, pay them $150, go on Instagram like, "Ooh, look at this, 150 barbers, you better get your weight up." Bro, that's an anomaly, man. Let that be the icing on the cake, not the cake itself.
Mm. I love it, bro, because it's just funny, man. Because you know me, guys, me and Will, we talk all the time, right? So
For
we're always
sure.
just talking and shooting ideas, and just we do this is my man's right here, right? And it's just funny because one of the things I laugh at is I'm always open to dialogue. I'm open to conversation. I'm open to arguments, whatever term you want to use to describe it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in total agreement that there are multiple ways to skin a cat. Is that the saying, right? There's
Yeah,
multiple
multiple ways.
I'm
Yeah.
open to that, right?
Right.
But what I find interesting and hilarious is when people will push back in my comment section or the DM me talking wild, replying to all this stuff, pushing back, right? And I think they're so consumed with this like this cloud of just fantasy that exists that they forget that their booking link is in their bio. And
Oh boy.
they forget, right?
Whew.
So then it's like, all right, we can deal with the pushback. You can argue with me, tell me I'm wrong, tell me I'm bugging, all of that, right? But if you're going to do that, when I go and click on your booking link, I should not be seeing nothing but openings, bro.
Right.
And it's one of the most, it's the weirdest thing to me that people will try to argue with me. I don't even argue with most of them, but they'll try to argue with me as they have nothing but openings in their book. When all I'm trying to do is say, hey, there's other ways you can do this. Maybe you thought this way was going to work, and maybe it's not working the way you thought. And maybe you want to continue going on that path because maybe it will ultimately work. But I'm just saying there are other ways to do it that are more proven and realistic and probable ways of going about things. And I know you're waiting. You're like, yo, bro, I'm about to fire away. So
right, because it's like I was talking to somebody when we were at the CT Expo, and he was asking me about that. And I said, listen, I have nothing against it, right? I'm a person, I charge $100 a haircut, right? So I'm gonna give you some real game. I'm gonna give you some real knowledgeable, actionable steps.
Guys, let me just say that one more time. He charges $100 a haircut.
Yes.
Let's be clear. He charges that. So I just want to make sure y'all know that.
Let me give you how the game works, right? So I started at 25 when I started my barber career almost 15 years ago. And I went up to $30 and $35 and $40 and then $50 and $65. And then I was still booked out all of those days. I was booked out every single day, 90% of the time. The only time you see an open spot is if somebody canceled, right? There's thousands of people across Atlanta that can vouch for that, right? And then I was like, all right, I'm going to build a school. I was doing about 30, 40 heads a week, 35, 40 heads a week, $65 a cut. I mean, you do the math. It was about $10,000, $11,000 a month, but I was doing 3 days. I was doing 3 days of 12, 13 heads a day, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I was off 4 days a week, right? This was just a year ago, right? And then I said, all right, I want to go build a school, right? So I went and did that, right? If you check on my page, you see that, right? I'm there 5 days a week. And I said, all right, I need to do something drastic to kind of wean people off of me onto my team, right? Because if I go up to $70 or $75, nobody's going to move. Everybody's going to be like, yo, whatever, I'll pay that, whatever, right? So I went to $100 because I knew I was only going to do 10 people on a Saturday. So I had to go down from 40 heads every week, a book of over 400 clients, to 10 people on a Saturday to give myself a small salary to pay my mortgage and utilities while I went and built a new business. It was all done strategically. Anything can be accomplished strategically. And I do about 10 people on a Saturday. That's about it. Sometimes it's 8, sometimes it's 9, but that's not my main source of income anymore. I don't even really post haircuts. I'm teaching people how to cut now, right? My focus isn't building a clientele anymore. People will still pay that. I got some people willing to pay it. And guess what? You will too. But let me also be honest. If I had to go back right now to cutting hair 4 days a week, I'd go back to $65, $75 a cut. I believe in my own mind, somebody who's made hundreds of thousands of dollars, 3 barbershops, 4 real estate properties in 1 year, $250,000 on a school. I don't say those numbers to be like, look at me, look at me. across 15 years. I'm 37 years old. I've been on all parts of this thing, right? But I also know the demand is what matters. And there isn't 40 to 50 people a week that are going to pay me $100 to cut their hair. Because here's what I know about highly successful people with money. They're not crazy or outrageous with money. They're smart. That's why they got money. They're going to start to do a process of elimination and rebalance their budget. And we're like, yo, Stan, this is a little extreme. These boys got money. They're going to say it's a little extreme, especially if they come every single week, right? But they'll pay me $75 without a blink of an eye. The relationship is strong. These people have been with me 10 years. They were same people paying me $25, paying me $100 right now. So saying, oh, you don't need that. You need new clientele and all that stuff. New leads always helps. It's the lifeblood of any business. There's no denying that. But if you do it appropriately, you can keep those same people and grow with them as they grow. A lot of my clients make multiple $100,000 a year. They could pay $100 for a haircut. But on a regular, they're like, yo, why would I want to do that? Is it because I'm not good? No, it's just not smart uses of their resources. I'm on time. I'm open 6 o'clock in the morning. They come get a cut whenever. Right? Outside of their business window. But if I had to go back to 40, 50 heads a week, I'm going back to $75. I think 40 to 60 is a sweet spot. If you did $60 a haircut, 50 heads a week, that's $13,000 a month. So and nobody's upset.
Starting out right now, right? Let's say you're a barber. You're starting out. Let's remove everything you've done, right? Gotcha. You're starting out. You're decent at cutting hair. You're let's say you're taking on average 45 minutes a cut, right? Right now.
Yep.
And you're a couple years in, and you're working in a shop where the shop price is, let's say, $30 a cut. We'll say that for argument's sake. How would you build in a strategic way? Now, knowing what you know now, what do you think would be a great way for somebody in that position to do?
Okay, so here's what I would do. I would start day one. Anybody who walked in that barbershop and came looking for me came in that barbershop and I was the barber that was next up, since I'm brand new, I don't have much clientele, it's $30 a cut. I would tell them when they leave, if you would like an appointment with me, I charge $40 for a haircut appointment. I'm open as early as 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm 45-minute slots. I would work 6 a.m. to 2, just like I do right now, or what I did for a majority of my career. 6 a.m. to 2 is an 8-hour shift. You can do 10 people or 12 people in that 8-hour shift at 45 minutes. 12 people at $40 a cut is $480. Couple people tip you $5, you make $500 a day. If I work 5 days a week, that's 60 heads. 60 times 40 is $2,400 plus tips is $2,500, which is 10 grand a month on average. That would be my first goal. Once I hit that, I'd raise my price $5 annually every year. And in less than 5 years, I'm around $12,000, $13,000, $14,000 a month. Times that by 12, it's $175,000. You're in the top 10% of money earners in the world. Because less than 10% make over $150,000. And you only charge $60 a cut.
Barbers. Listen, guys, I this man is giving y'all game. Let me know in the chat what you guys are thinking about what some of Will is saying, some of what I'm saying. Let me know in the chat so I can pin some of your comments on the screen. And I love that.
That's exactly what I do for new barbers who are in my academy right now. I teach them this formula. If any of them are on here, they've seen it on the whiteboard. It works. Especially in a city like Atlanta. $40 is a good starting point. Head and face, plus we shampoo everybody. That's line one. $30, if you're not shampooing people, I get it. A shampoo and conditioner, and you can actually articulate. You went to barber school. You know how to talk. You know the terminologies. You know that you need multiple shampoos, not just one little one that smells good and get up and let me line you up with your scalp all dry looking crazy. And you actually know how to treat your client, and you can educate them on how to groom themselves in between haircuts. You're worth $40 because you're called a professional. But you didn't go to barber school. You went to, big homie, and you did them 3,000 hours, and then you called somebody like me and begged you to train you how to pass a test.
So what I would ask you some of your thoughts on, I'll share some of mine, then ask you some of your thoughts on, is because we live in a time where one of the things that people love to just say is work smarter, not harder. Right.
Right.
And some of my beef with that is a lot of times it comes from the OGs, right? OGs love to say, I'm doing 10 cuts at $100 an hour. I tried doing all of that stuff and it led to this and that and third. So now I only do 10 cuts at $100 a cut and make it $1,000 a day. And while I love that they share that insight, the part that they always leave out is that they worked up to that. Like they built it. They didn't just graduate barber school or 2-3 years into their career, they were doing that. They worked up to that. Right. So I just lost my train of thought because I started getting worked up and I went somewhere else. So speak on whatever you got to speak on so I can get my thought to come back.
Got you. So you were saying the barbers are like, yo, like work harder, not smart, or work smarter, not harder. $100 a cut. I'm only doing 10 haircuts a day, but they forget to tell the people how they got to that. That's what I just really tried to explain, like how I got to that. It's a slow process, but there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? And when you do that, see what happens when people spend big money with you, there's one thing they have to do. They have to trust you. You build a resume. When Apple's first iPhone came out, it was $200. They built a resume. Now they get $1,400 out of you. But Apple's wrong. Did they come out the gate? $1,400. Let's go. People build up to that. They build trust with you. Then you buy without thinking. Because you're like, oh, I already know what that is. Let me get that. Right? So you can build with your clientele while you're attracting the people that you want. Like, and then I tell people, like, this was another thing. I explained this to one of my barbers the other day. I was like, yo, you get to a point where you make $8,000 to $12,000 as a barber. Live off of like $6,000. If you got a spouse and they make $6,000, $7,000, that's $13,000. It's over $150,000. But combined, y'all can't pay one mortgage off of that. Like, let's be real here. Then invest, save $4,000 or $5,000 a month between the two of you. Do that for 12 months. 50 grand, go open you up a shop. Create you some leverage. Service to many leads to greatness. Not squeeze as many to get to greatness. That's what you got to do. Now you got basically an apartment building. Everybody loves real estate, right? 90% of the wealth is created through real estate in America, right? That's what the stats say. Everybody barber's numbers guy and work smarter, not harder. 10 times 100 is 1,000. Like, come on, we gonna talk numbers. Let's talk then, right? You do that. 90% of the wealth is created through real estate. If you own a barbershop, even if it's booth rent, you pay rent, some CAM fees, which is common area maintenance for the shopping center that you're in, because you're in a retail space, some utilities, and you use social media to market for free. If you need help with that, hit Marv. You charge people rent and you keep what's left over. That's $4,000 or $5,000 a month passive income. It's 60 grand a year passively without even having to be there. You take that 5,000-6,000, you double down with the 5,000-6,000 you created in margin. Now you got over $10,000 in margin. Do that for a year, you got 120. And ain't nobody pissed off yet. Ain't nobody mad like, bro, taxing. Ain't nobody said that yet. You see what I'm saying? Then you go do it again, do it again, do it again. Who I'm talking about is what I did. My first 6 years in business, I didn't spend any money that I made off of booth rent. I went from 1 shop, 2 shop, 3 shops. Then built a school. You know why? Because I'm going to train a body of personnel. See, the only reason why people don't want to own shops, let me keep it G, Marvin. You probably can validate this. People don't want to own barbershops, not because the business model sucks. It's because the workforce that they have to choose from what the school is putting out, that sucks. So when you find something that sucks, you change it. Every major business in the world has a farm system, a recruiter. Big companies pay recruiters to find the best talent. So if you can't go to the barber school and find the best talent, guess what you got to do? You got to train it. I opened up a barber school because it's low-hanging fruit. It's 20 barber schools in the state of Georgia. And I don't even know if all of them is active. So now if you want to learn how to cut hair, guess where you got to go? I'm 6 months in, I got over 200 applications. If we're talking numbers, we ain't talking about haircut numbers. We're talking about real numbers. That's how you find a lane. Numbers. These are facts. This is state website, sos.ga.gov. Go. The numbers will tell you that. That's how you get demand and numbers where people ain't got no option but to come to you. It's barbershops on every corner. You gonna alienate yourself? Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know.
Well, what would you say to the barber that is because suites are a big thing now in our industry, right?
Oh,
So barber
okay.
suites. So, you know, when you say that barbers don't want to own barbershops for the reasons that you specified, what about for the barber that is opting the suite route? What are your thoughts on the suite?
I just think I don't think it's a long-term play. I think people go to suites to ultimately quit. I think it's an admission of quitting.
What do you mean?
When you learn to quit, it becomes a habit. You don't like what you're doing, so you go get a suite and you kind of hide from everybody. You say, I'm falling back. I like being by myself. Of course you do, because if you know you're about to quit on yourself, only person you're looking at is you. That walk of shame is real.
I never looked at it that way, bro. That's good.
That walk of shame is real now. You got to pack up your stuff and say, man, I'm going to drive trucks. Ooh, that hurts. That hurts. Because otherwise, why would you do that? You want to put your logo on the wall in your favorite Michael Jordan picture? That's cool. You might as well stayed at your house and did that. Just told everybody come to the crib. Fix your booth rent into your mortgage. People go to suites, they signing contracts. You know, if you get evicted from a suite, like imagine this, right? A barber go to a suite, right? And then God forbid something happens. Injury. Can't cut. You're locked into a contract. The barbershop, you could have just figured out something else to do. You're in a contract in a suite. Now you got 10 months still on your head. Them people want that money. They legally got you. But you wanted to be legit. And then one is too small of a number to achieve greatness. There's two types of business owners. One owns the business. That means he gets paid when he's not there. The other is owned by the business. The business owns you. It only makes money when you're operating it. So now you're in a suite. You can't walk away. I would be scared to death, right? To make $15,000 in a suite. You know why? Because my entire income is dependent upon me. I'd be scared to death. I make more money without even going to the barbershop than I do when I'm in it. If we talk about business, it'll get to a point within the next year where the school makes more money when I'm not there than when I'm there.
I love it.
I mean, if we talking business.
Yeah.
The
sweet stuff is funny to me.
It's wrong, but it's like, yo, come on.
Yeah, it's funny to me because I'm gonna be putting a post up this week, right? I already got it in the stash. I was telling you earlier, but it's funny because we're at a time where it's the be your own boss mentality, right? We're being sold this be your own boss, don't work for somebody else thing, right?
Right.
And people are eating it up, right? So when the building owner with all of the suite spaces, you know, is encouraging it, and society in itself is encouraging be your own boss. Now you got barbers fresh out of barber school, barbers with no clientele saying, all right, I'm gonna be my own boss, right? And they go and do all that stuff you said with the suite, and they get excited, right? Because now they get to call it what they want. They set up their LLC, they hang up their sign, they decorate it how they want, and then the icing on the cake is they get to do a really nice Instagram post about grand opening, right?
Yeah.
And it feels good as hell, bro, because now barbers come on there.
It's a dopamine hit for
Fire
sure.
emojis.
Yeah.
Bunch of likes, bunch of shares to the story. Congrats, right? But then what happens is that eventually starts fading away.
Yeah.
But
it's like buying a new car.
Bills.
It's like buying a new car, right?
You stuck with all of those bills. And now you're in this suite where people ain't just walking into. You don't have clientele as it is. So now you're like, all right, how am I going to do this? right? They don't really have any marketing skills. They don't really have any social media skills. They're scared to talk to people in public. So now they're in a position where they're just sitting around. The bills still got to get paid. And now they're locked into that lease, like you said. And now it gets really, really weird, right?
Right.
And I say all that because I personally think what we're going to see, what I think is going on right now that people ain't voicing out loud, but maybe they're going to start once Marvy Marv starts acting up on Instagram.
For sure. Keep going.
We're going to see we're going to see a lot of sweet regret where people went that route and have their horror stories to share. The ones that are going to be able to share the successful stories are going to be the ones that worked in the shop for all of them years, owned barbershops and all of that had built up them skills and stuff. So they're going to have their input, tell me why I'm tripping and all of that. But the newer barbers, the ones that bought into all of this hype of be your own boss, don't work for nobody else, man, a lot of them, they're going to be in a spot where it's like, damn, what was I thinking? And I just hope they have the courage to admit, like, man, this wasn't the best move. And they can take a step back and reroute, right? And reroute and try something different and maybe work towards getting to where it is they were trying to go in the first place. And then if coming back to the suite is their move, cool. But hopefully it will open their eyes to seeing, like, damn, like this wasn't necessarily the best thing for me. I just bought in some BS.
Yeah. I think that's going to be most people's reality. Or they're just going to get older and just fade out. Start doing something else. Because, I mean, when you basically say, I'm going the sweet route, you basically said, I want to own a job for the rest of my life.
What do you mean by that? Elaborate.
Okay, so you have self-employed and you have entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs build businesses that take a lot of work on the front end, but they get to enjoy the fruits of their labor on the back end. Self-employed is nothing more than you own the job. If you're employed, somebody else gave you a job. If you're self-employed, you own a job. But that's what people are being sold as ownership. It's not. You'd be better off working and paying booth rent somewhere or commission somewhere and buying Apple stock. That's ownership. That ownership is better than sweet ownership, self-employed ownership. Because Apple going to pay you. They're going to pay you dividends. They stock going to grow. You're going to make money while you sleep. Unless you sleeping in the suite, you ain't making no money while you sleep. Unless you sleeping in there, cutting somebody's hair while you sleep. I don't know. We've just been bamboozled, man. We've been bamboozled.
And like you were saying earlier, like the real estate game, like a smarter move from a business standpoint, whether it's right or wrong, that could be debated, but a smarter move is to work to build, to get that stack of cash that you can invest into getting that building where you create the suites for the people to rent.
That's a glorified barbershop. That's a glorified barbershop. It's a barbershop with some walls. There's 10 other people in there. I mean, am I lying?
I mean,
it's a glorified barbershop. The only difference is the barbershop is usually in a retail space. So they got walk-by traffic. When I pick my locations, I pick restaurants close by. Why? Because people go to lunch every day. People walking by, let me see if I grab a quick cut. Not an hour and a half cut, but a quick cut. If I started a new barbershop, it would be called Quick Cuts.
Bro, you would be booming.
Straight to the point. Quick Cuts, holla at me. Boom, done. That's the post.
Bro, here's what you guys got to understand, all right? And Alex Hormozy made this point, and it was great. And I'm going to butcher it, but I'm going to say it my own way. But the point will remain the same, right? It's the idea that people pay for speed, right? So if we're going to use fitness as the example, and I were to say to you guys, you can join my program. It's going to cost you $100, and I guarantee that you will lose 30 pounds in a year, right? $100, you're going to lose 30 pounds in a year. Or you could join my other program, right, where it's going to cost you $200. But in this program, I guarantee you're going to lose that same 30 pounds in 6 months, right? Which option are you going to go for? You're going to pay the double to lose the weight quicker, right? So what does that have to do with you and barbering? guys, you got to understand, bro, for whatever reason, we tied this longer cut to higher pricing thing. I don't know where that came from, right? And I will admit that I bought into it a little bit earlier on in my career as well. I bought into that too, for whatever reason, right? But now, evolving and growing and educating myself, I realized how misinformed I was. And I remember one specific example in my barbershop where it blew my mind, where I had to like rush through one of my clients and cut them a little quicker than I normally did because I double booked, like I got backed up type of thing. And I remember when I finished up his cut, he looked back at me. He threw me extra money. He paid me more than he normally did. He was paying me 40 at the time. He paid me 60. And I remember him saying to me, I appreciate you getting me out a little quicker today. And that's when like the light bulb went off, like, yo, like people will pay to get in and out quicker. Now you do got to maintain that quality cut, that quality service and all of that stuff. And again, quality subjective, that's a whole other rant, right? But what you got to understand is it applies to barbering as well. People will pay for speed, bro. You don't got to drag out stuff forever in order to justify a higher price point. I've done cuts where I've done it in 12, 15 minutes and I've made 60, 80, $100. Bro, what? It doesn't have to be an hour and a half.
It does not. And I mean, just look everywhere you go, right? If you're young and you go to the club, $100, cut the line, right?
Yeah.
If you go to Disney World with your family, fast pass. Like, come on. On the highways in Atlanta, they got a thing called the Peachtree Pass or the Peach Pass, where you get to drive in the HOV lane for a fee, for speed. Like, every business do this. But in barbers, yo, I'm going to spend 90 minutes. And then here's the thing. We value things as barbers that clients don't give a damn about.
Speak on it.
Because we're like, yo,
speak on
I'm nicer than this dude. He's not coming to get a haircut, fam. The fire emojis don't print no cheese. You know what I mean? A comment saying get the bag isn't actually a bag for real. It's not. It's really not. But if you get fast, and see, reason why I love speed is something we control. That's why you should invest in your own education. You know why? So you can become more efficient. Success has always been an inside job. You do the inner work, you get faster, you get quicker, you get a more efficient system. That's what translates to big money. Why do you think these booking apps, they save people time? That's why they get paid. That's why there's 1,000 of them. Because they save you time and headache. Right? Time, it's more your organization.
Yeah.
Organization keeping you from double booking saves you what? Time. Makes them what? Money. 1 + 1 = 2. I mean, how many times you got to see it?
Bro, and one thing I would add on to it while I'm thinking of it, I remember the point I was trying to make earlier when it comes to the working smarter, not harder, because that's what a lot of people will say. People will say, well, when you're doing these half-hour cuts or whatever, 20-minute, 15-minute, you're working harder. I prefer to work smarter, do one cut, make the same amount of money, right? And for me, some of my pushback against that is this. If we take two barbers, right, and one barber is doing an hour-and-a-half service, and for that hour-and-a-half service, they're doing a low drop skin fade on a dark hair, hard to fade client. They need to apply enhancements, beard work, enhancements in the beard, sculpt it, line it up, straight razor, style and texturize the top and all that, a shampoo wash, a hot towel, and a steamer. And they're doing that, all of that in an hour and a half for, let's say, $80, right? They make $80. They're charging 70. They get paid 80, let's say, right? In that hour and a half.
Cool.
Right? And they're working smart. Versus another barber who in that same hour and a half does a 2 on the top, 2 on the sides, scissors on top, no beard work, a 2 on the top, skin fade, and maybe a gentleman's cut and makes, let's say, $40 a cut off of each one of those.
Right.
In that same hour and a half, they're making $120. They're making 120. The other person makes 80. We can even say 90, right? So they make more money, one. But then if we're talking about working smarter versus working harder, I would argue that that's actually working smarter to a degree, even though it's more haircuts. They're simpler cuts. It's a simpler process. You can do it with your eyes closed. You don't even got to think. They're less picky people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's so much smarter. And here's why. I'm going to say a word that you didn't say. because the $40 cut is duplicatable.
Mm-hmm.
It's duplicatable. That means you can train an entire team to do that and get paid to do it. It's duplicatable. $80, if he all of a sudden loses his job, replacing him, that's a lot of hard work. So are you really working smarter? Because now you got to go find another $80 client. Oh, that's right. You can just put a post on Instagram and they're going to click that link.
Yeah.
If it was only that easy.
It's crazy because, and I think honestly, you know, like sometimes I fall into the trap too, that I think a lot of OG barbers fall into is like, you know, we do got to remember there was a time where maybe we looked at it the same way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm so big on preaching some of this stuff to you guys, because I've fallen into some of these traps too. I remember when I raised my prices years ago, before all this Instagram stuff years ago. And the way I justified raising my prices in my mind was I started adding those extra services and doing all this extra stuff in order to justify my price increase. But when we looked at what I was making overall in the end, I wasn't making any more money. In fact, a lot of times I was making less because now it's taking more time to do the service, right? And then over the years, I just start to learn that in so many instances, most people just want a haircut, bro. That's what they come to the barbershop for, a haircut. And where us barbers, we think that in every situation, we're really separating ourselves by including all of this extra stuff for this higher price. Unfortunately, as good as it sounds, and it does work for some people, there are a lot of people that they don't care about that, bro. And I can speak from experience too, where once I eliminated some of that stuff from my arsenal, right? The same clients that were coming to me, they still come to me to this day. And I ain't doing all of that extra stuff no more. And in fact, they're actually paying me more. I'm getting them out quicker. They're paying me more for their haircut and not all that additional stuff. So I think we do that just because in our mind as barbers, at least I did, I thought I had to in order to justify paid higher prices.
And you're exactly right in this sense. You justified it to you.
Yeah.
The client never cared.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where a lot of times barbers make a mistake. We're trying to look at it from our view. Well, what do I need to do so I can make more money? Oh, I'm going to put a hot towel on somebody and charge them $5 extra. The market may not care about that. They may not value it like you do, right? We go get all these certifications and all these different things that nobody even cares about. But then they're like, no, I'm telling you, if you take this service, it's going to level up your career. Not if your target market doesn't care about it. If you go learn a new service, you better target the people who value that. So now you need to learn how to market. You got a skill set, but don't know how to go get those clients. So now what? You right back to the same thing you've been doing. You just $1,000 for that class less in your pocket. Because somebody manipulated you and told you it was going to work. They took one or two of their homeboys like, yo, be my model right quick. I need to create this online course. And they sold it to you. They made money. Great job. You didn't apply what you learned. Who really won? Right? I don't think they got over on you, because if you applied it and you did the work, you probably could get it. But if you would have did the work anyway, you wouldn't have needed the class. You see what I'm saying? We're looking for a quick fix all the time. That's why we give up money for this stuff, because we're looking for a quick fix. There is no quick fix. You got to do the work.
That is the quick fix, right?
That is the quick fix. Yeah. Like, I'd rather get rich slow than get rich never.
You gotta stop with these quotes, bro. You gotta stop with them, bro. My homie Donnie, I know he's tapped in on Instagram. He's always telling me, he's like, Marv, you be coming with the analogies and the stories, but my man Will comes with the bars, bro. Let me know in the chat. Is Will dropping heat or what? Let me know in the chat so I can put some of your comments on the screen, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I have a hard time understanding barbers. I'm like, what's the rush, man? Like, you literally cut hair, bro. You're not bricklaying. You're not installing roofs. You ain't doing heavy construction work. Like, what are we doing? Get you an $85 fatigue mat, man, and stand up for 6 to 8 hours. Who cares? I guess we're not doing like, I feel very blessed and fortunate to be able to cut hair. Seriously. Now I
Yeah.
get to teach people how to do it. Like, I don't look at, oh, I got to get up and go to work. No, I get to get up and go teach people. How cool is that? You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, for barbers, why can't we just enjoy the process? Like, if you were trying to say, yo, I'm trying to make as much money as I can so I can get out and go do what? Get out and go do what? I want to get into real estate. Okay, cool. That's called investing. Unless you want to go be a realtor, that's harder than barbering. You sure? Trying to go recruit clients as a realtor is much harder than barbering. Trust me. It's much harder. 90% of realtors don't make no money. They simply got the realtor license for the tax write-offs so they can negotiate their own deals of investing. That's what the stats say. I mean, it is what it is. Average realtor sells one house a month.
Bro, when you look at it, like, not to cut you off, but
right.
it's the barrier of entry. The easier it is to enter that world, you know what I'm saying? The
right.
less likely you are going to be super successful, right?
Right?
In other words, what I'm saying is, like, to do the real estate stuff is a relatively cheap thing to do. It's a relatively simple process.
$300, 8 weeks of classes, take a test.
Yeah, which ultimately could pay you off crazy, just like barbering, right? Me and Will were talking about this the other day, where you can spend a couple $100s on some clippers and they make you thousands, right? But the problem is the mindset that we're looking at it with. We look at it like, oh, I'm just gonna get my real estate license. Now I'm gonna be banking in thousands a month, or oh, I'm just gonna get the new babyless clippers and I'm gonna post on my Instagram that I'm going up to $85 a cut starting on the first, and now the clients are just gonna fly in. And it's like, no, it's about doing the work.
That was one of the posts I always hated. Your haircut can't be $30 because I pay $150 for my clippers. Bro, them clippers will last longer than you.
Especially now, the way they're being built now.
Yo, them clippers worth $200, man. I mean, come on, yo.
Yeah. It's crazy. I love barbers. I love us. And I fell victim to a lot of this thinking and some of these things that I push back against now. And I'm so passionate about what I say because I fell into some of these traps, and there are so many times as barbers where we really do just think we're more important than we really are. Right? Yeah. Like we think we're irreplaceable. We think we matter more than we do. And we act like people really can't just go get a haircut somewhere else. We act like these people need us, bro.
Yeah.
And like we act like our fades have never been done before or our hot towel service has never been done before. Our shampoo is and we look at ourselves like we're just so much more important than we really are. And that's not to say, guys, that you're not special, right? We're all special in our own way, whatever cliche saying we want to say, right? But truthfully, guys, and I know it might not feel good to say this, but we cut hair, bro. Right. And it's a blessing and it's a beautiful thing. Yeah. But like when I think about me going to the shop and cutting hair in the AC for a few hours and then leaving with $500 in my pocket.
Bro, it's an amazing, what a time to be alive and be a barber. Like, come on, man. There's never been a better time to be a barber than right now. Ever. Like, what's crazy? The $100 barber stuff is great, right? But the blessing out of all of it is people are happy to pay $40.
Yeah, bro.
So it's like, I'm glad Jokers took the roof off, took it to the extreme, blow the top off. I love it. Because now people are like, 40? Man, that's love, bro. They're happy. It was once upon a time, people was like, $40. They was going crazy. Yeah. Now they're like, bro, that's what I'm talking about, bro. Like they're happy to do that. Come on, man. What a time to be alive to be able to charge $40, $50, $60 and a person won't complain.
Yeah. What would you say to this, right? Because I had I made a post, like a post just like being extreme because it's content, right? So you got to be polarizing, right? But, you have a barber shop and let's say you're charging whatever, your cuts start at $40 a cut. How do you handle this particular scenario? I'll tell you how I handle it, but I'm curious to see how you handle it. You charge $40 a cut, but you have this 80-year-old man coming in barely moving, comes in and tries to walk in to get a haircut, and you see they got that bald on the top, couple sticking up, and it's a little woofy on the sides, and they're looking to get a haircut. You charge 40 in the shop,
right?
Are you telling that 82-year-old man with a couple hairs on the top and the stuff? Are you gonna tell him $40? And I want an honest answer.
Me personally, I'm cutting them for free. Here's why. It's my opportunity to give back. That's it. I charge it to the game. Come on, man. Something like that take me 10, 15 minutes. I do that with kids, right? Like my clients, big money, right? They come get their kids first, second haircut. And you know, it's still at that level where we're just cutting it down. I'm not really lining it up. They don't want to sit still. Bro, come on, man. They're like, yo, how much I owe you, Stan? I'm like, get out of here. Because I enjoy what I do. Like, that's not no sweat off my back. And then here's the thing, right? The best thing about money is not needing it. When you do right with your money and you can invest and you can make some smart financial decisions for a decade, you're not pressed to get every dollar. Like, people who are pressed to get every dollar don't have no money. Me and Marv could have packaged this up and sold it to you. We ain't pressed for no money. So we give you game for free. I mean, it just is what it is, man. You create margin in your life so you can be a blessing to people. I would tell people, right? People say, well, Will, man, how do you stay full? Right? If your cup is full, how do you keep it full? Are you never going to drink from it? No, you're going to pour some out into somebody else's. That's how your cup gets filled up with more. Because if you keep pouring on your cup and it's already full, what's it going to do? It's going to overflow. It's going to fall on the ground. That's what people do. We become blessed and then we dump it out on the ground and waste what we have instead of pouring it into somebody else's cup. I didn't go into teaching because I was like, oh, you know what I mean? Look how nice I am. I got 3 shops. Who doing it like this? I don't care about that. I want to see other people win too. Ain't no fun if your homies can't have none. I know y'all heard that. That's real though. You want to be the only person around you that got money? That's boring, man. It really is. It's boring. Like, I was like the last 2-3 years, right? I worked 3 days a week. I was off for 4 days. Most boringest time of my life. Swear to God. Money, pocket full of money, buying real estate, buying properties, whatever. All I'm doing good. Properties renting crazy, shops full. And I'm bored. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, I call my friends on Monday and Tuesday. These boys good. They make money. But they're working. And they can't call me back. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, let's go somewhere to do something. Dang, bro, I got this event coming up. I got this coming. I got that. I can't do it right now. Like, because we're busy. And money's not an issue. It's just people, you want something to do. Like, there's this facade out there that's like, oh man, I just want to be free. No, you want purpose. You want something to do. You might want to just be sitting around doing nothing all day. That's how bad habits set in. That idle mind is a devil's workshop. Right? That's a real thing.
Yeah, bro.
It's a blessing to be busy. People, oh, my back, I'm working too hard. So it's a blessing to be busy, man. It's a blessing to be busy. We got to start looking at life with a different lens. An attitude of gratitude. You hear Gary Vee talk about it all the time. We always talk about what we don't got. I need to work smarter. No, you don't. You need to be grateful you have work to do. Let's try that mentality.
I love it. And I just want to say, I know you kind of just started going in, but I do want to just acknowledge that thinking when it comes to that old man, the initial question I asked you, because it does make me sad that we do have a lot of barbers that old man would walk in and they would tell him haircuts are $40, bro.
Yeah, I've had people in my shop do that. And I look at them like, bro, what are you doing? I'm like, yo, if you can wait, I'll take you next. If I see it, man, come on, man. Listen, any old men out there in the world, if you see me in the barbershop, just walk in and walk up to me and say, hey, I'm the old guy. And I'm going to cut your hair for free.
Yeah, it's just bugging. And I
open invitation.
Get it from a standpoint of the price is the price, right? But at a certain point, bro, it's like, what are we doing this for, man? You know, like what are we doing? Like, you really think, even if the price is the price is a true statement, right? Even if that's the truth, and times have changed and things have evolved. Really, that old man that can barely walk with a little bit of hair on the side, a couple pricklies on top. You
Right.
really are going to tell him $60, $80 that he needs to come back and make an appointment if you're just sitting around for 30 minutes waiting on your next appointment?
Yo,
That's what we're really doing. And that's where I get a little, I get a little emotional, bro. I get a little sad. You know what I mean?
Because you got a conscience, man.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, if that was your dad, you wouldn't want nobody to do your dad like that. Like, think about that for a second, man. It's like, come on, man. It's like you can be in business to make money, but not at the expense of your conscience. You gotta have a heart for people at some point. We can't get numb to that.
Yeah.
We just can't. Right? Like, you gotta be a good human being sometimes, regardless of what the world tell you. Some people hurt people. Just reality. Some people are scarred, man. They've been misled. They've been manipulated. So they're just like, I need me. And if you think me all the time, you ain't going to have nothing. You can't always be me. Okay, I got it. Me, it's a given. What they call it? They call it WIIFM. What's in it for me station? That's most people. WIFM. That's all people talk about. What's in it for them?
And we've lost the truth. Like we can't see the truth of the fact that we are in the service industry, bro. Like, we are the service providers. And I see it too much and hear about it too much, where it's just we truly, for whatever reason, think these people are like we're entitled to these people, you know, like we own them, or just there's even times where we feel inconvenienced by, you know, them walking in. You got a sign that says walk-ins welcome. They walk in and it's an inconvenience. Like, you know what I mean? Or they call the shop looking to get in for a cut and it's an inconvenience. You know, we're in very weird times. And I think part of the reason is just a lot of this social media stuff, for sure, that you know, this world that has been created, and this idea of celebrity barber and famous barbers and all of this stuff. Because, you know, even with me being a part of that, because I am a famous barber in the barber world, right? It's whether I want to be or not, I am. But the part that makes me sad is that because there's the people that may be looked at as famous barbers in the barber world, now there's so many barbers that outside of this little niche thing we have in their communities and in their shops, they walk around like their thing is just swinging and smacking the ground, and nobody can talk to them now because a couple people at a barber event know who they are, and they posted a video that got 100,000 views. And it's just such weird times to me, man. And I don't know. That's why I be like, I'm in such a good spot right now where there's a lot of stuff that is flowing through me that I'm going to start vocalizing more and more, because I'm going to do my part to be the change that I wish to see and spark the change that I want to see, and use my platform that the universe, God, whatever you want to say, the greater power has given me to have conversations like this, to post the type of content I've been posting, and just do what I can in my power to try to get people to see what this barbering thing really is, and get us to be just better humans, and be a service to people, and do what barbers are supposed to be doing, not just sitting back wanting everybody to give us $200 and act like if you don't want to give us $200, beat it and kick rocks, old man Greg. It's just, I don't know, bro.
It's crazy, man. And that's the leader in you, though. That's what leadership is, man. We need better humans. That's what we need. The world would be so much better if we had better leaders, but nobody talks about that. I've talked to you about this plenty of time. I've spent the last 10 years of my life studying leadership. It's changed my life, and it's changed my life in every area of my life. In my marriage, I'm better. As a father, I'm better. A business owner, I'm better. A community person, I'm better. A teacher, I'm better. You know what I'm saying? Like, any position I hold, leadership has transferred to every single thing. And if we can get to a point where we start raising better leaders, people start getting behind you, not because of how much you cut, but because of the person that you are. People buy into the person before they ever buy into the business. That's a side where people pay, like I said, they pay me $100 because of who Will Stam is, not the barber. You know what I'm saying? Because they seen the work that I put in. They're bought into the vision. You know what I'm saying? They see me helping other people. They see me teaching and doing all this other stuff. They're a part of the story just as much as I am. Like we have to get to a point where we realize we're nothing without the people. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And people in higher, places and perspective and stuff, they realize that. It's part of like, whoa, 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 like come down off of this stuff, man. Because at the end of the day, man, each and every one of us wants to feel fulfilled. And you do that by helping your brother or your sister, not by making a bunch of money. Money is important, don't get me wrong. But you need something to do with it. And oftentimes it's helping somebody else. Yeah.
I love it. Will, you already know we could talk forever. Guys, you tapped in. How y'all feeling about this in the chat? Let us know about the chat.
We might need to take some questions, man. We might need some questions.
Yeah, we're going to have to turn this into a multiple part series. What I'm thinking is right now, it says we've been live for an hour and 10 minutes. I'm thinking we rock for about another 20, answer maybe a couple questions. You cool with that?
I'm good with that.
Okay.
Questions, cool. I think would be great, man. Get the people time to, get their questions answered, man, for free.
Okay. So what we're gonna do is
no power hours for $5.50.
We're gonna have a conversation for another 20 minutes, and me and Will, when we get off of this, we gonna catch up and we gonna figure something else out to do some more of this. And while they're typing in their questions right now, Will, we were discussing earlier something we got on a roll for a select few people. You know what I'm saying? Do you want to share that with them? What we were talking about earlier?
Yeah. So what I want to do, me and Marv have been talking about it, and it's like we want to help people, right? At the end of the day, that's what we want to do, right? There's so many people who have been bamboozled and manipulated and just kind of are frustrated, right? Spinning wheels. So what me and Marv decided is like, all right, bro, where you're at, where I'm at, how can we help people together, right? I think me and Marv, we talk about it a lot. We have like just a natural synergy where, we kind of see the same things and we kind of, understand it to some degree. So what we wanted to do was put together and get you guys' feedback, right? Where me and Marv, both of us, help you build a better barber business, right? And what that'll entail is all of the things that you see each and every of us do, right? I've built barbershops. I've built a thriving barber school. I've built the clientele from $25 all the way up to $100. There's enough there on that side where any part of that we can build. Marv has built barbershops. Marv's built a tremendous social media business. He knows the ins and outs of social media. His character is high level. He's not somebody that's just, I'm just on here manipulating folks to try to make money, right? So what we want to know is that something that you would be interested in? And then here's the thing, right here on live like this, we can build us a community and start building businesses and all the intricacies that come with it into each individual with like an entire community group so people can watch and observe how we actually go about doing that. So y'all let us know in the chat. And Marv, if you want to add anything to that I might have missed, but that's what we were thinking. So you guys let us know.
Yeah, guys. So let us know if that'd be something you'd be interested in. And if you are, what I would say is you can leave your feedback in the comment section for sure. But once we wrap up this conversation, just message either me or Will on IG and say, hey, I was hearing you talk about the mentorship type of thing that you were discussing. I'm interested. And what we'll do is we'll give you the information and, let you know the steps that you would need to take and that we would need to take to make it happen. So if that's something you're interested in, some mentorship from me, from Will, some next level stuff, just after this live,
building better barbers.
Yeah, just DM us and say
anything from skill set, technical wise, clientele building, opening your first shop, opening a school, how to market on social media. Marv's worked with different brands. I've worked with different brands. Whatever you want to do, whatever lane or niche you want to get involved in, we definitely can help you get there if you're willing to do the work.
Bet. So yeah, just to make it as simple as possible, guys, after we get off this live, DM one of us, either me or Will, and just say mentorship. Just keep it simple.
Mm-hmm.
One word, mentorship. And that will at least let us know that you're interested in what we're discussing. So
Mm-hmm.
Will, what are your thoughts
Yeah.
on this? Don Tavia says, if I'm a new barber fresh out of I'm assuming barber school, should I
Mm-hmm.
take the leap of faith to leave my full-time job to go to a busy barbershop? What are your thoughts on that?
Don Tavius, here's the thing, right? You have to write down a plan. When you write something down, you make it real, right? You can always come back to it and edit, but until it is written, it is not real. Okay. So I don't want to tell you jump into the barbershop, believe in your full-time job, because I need to know what your budget is like. What are your bills like? Do you have a wife and kids, right? Because any decision that you make is not only just for you, right? It impacts your wife and kids. They have to be considered. It is what it is. So we need to know all of the aspects of your circumstance, right? And I do think taking like appetizer bite-sized steps towards that, I think is the best route. There is going to come a point in time where you got to take a little bit of a double jump, right? You can jump a little bit, jump a little bit, jump a little bit, but then you're going to meet that crossroads where you do have to exercise faith and take a bigger jump, right? Now, I don't know if that is the position you're in right now. So I would need more context. I'm not just going to be out here cheerleading some, oh, yeah, bro, do it. I did it. I'm not willing to manipulate you like that. But something like, on our mentorship, stuff like that, we can give you actionable steps to walk you through that to make it as smooth as possible.
I love
that is a great question, though.
Yeah, and to add on to that, just to give you some real life perspective from me, when I first started out, I had 2 other part-time jobs. Now, these weren't like crazy hours, but when I worked in the shop, I started in the shop and I delivered pizzas for a local pizza spot and for Domino's, right? So I was making money through Domino's, the pizza spot, and the little bit I was making in the shop. All of that together was collectively helping me, pay my bills and handle my responsibilities. And as I was delivering pizzas, I was leveraging the pizza companies. So when people were coming in to pick up their food, I was letting them know I'm a barber. Come see me for a cut. First one's on me. When I'm delivering food, hey, just so you know, I'm a barber. First cut's on me. So if you do, feel like maybe you need to, you can't just commit full time, don't feel too bad if you have to do something part-time. But what I would say is try to do something part-time where you can leverage a lot of traffic, right? So there's Uber you could do to promote yourself when you're driving people around in an Uber, or like a DoorDash or Grubhub or something like that. Or even if you could do a part-time job in a hotel or something where people are checking in and out. Think of, if you do got to do a part-time job, a job where there's a lot of traffic, where you can promote yourself. So the days where you're in the shop part-time too, or full-time, however you do it, you can be directing traffic to your shop as well. And that's just
here's another thing I just thought of, right? Because I like these type of challenges, right? Because I've been away from it for a while in that perspective, right? But I just want to think on something, think out loud, right? If I were you and you did want to jump out there, right? Like, just imagine your price was $40 at that shop you went to, right? I don't know if it's booth rent or whatever, but another strategy to do just to kind of match your old income, go ridiculously low. Go market yourself as the $20 barber.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so cheaper than the norm. You'd get busy as a mug, right? You'd get so busy. People like, what? $20? Well, that's unheard of. You do something drastic, like a dramatic demonstration, and you'd get a whole bunch of interest, right? Now that $20, you may be overworked, but the transition was made. Now you just scale from there. 3-4 months later, after you settled in and got used to your new income, now you're $25, right? You realize nobody went nowhere. Now you're $30, but you're full because you were so low, and then just scale that up because you're trying to make a transition. I'm not telling you do this and just do it. You're trying to make a transition, and you need as much volume. Volume is your best bet right now. It's not per haircut price, smarter, harder concept. No, that's not you right now. You right now are trying to leave a job and replace that income. I don't give a damn. You got to do 50 haircuts to replace the income at $20. If it replaces the income, the mission is accomplished. Now we scale from there once we made the transition, if that makes sense.
Barbers, none but gems. Marv, what advice would you give to someone trying to have the blurriest fades in the game? Now, I'm not even sure if this is a real question or you just playing with me. You probably just playing with me, right? But we gonna talk about it a little bit. What I would say, man, is just don't get so lost in the art of this that you forget it's a business too. You know what I'm saying? I would say that's number one, right? You got to make money. And unfortunately, there's so many people that aren't making money because they're so focused on putting out the blurriest fade. And I'll give you an example of what I mean. There's so many people that get people to sit in their chair and they give them a real high quality cut, right? And they blaze them up. And then afterwards, the client leaves and then they never see him again, right? So naturally, what barbers think is the haircut must have not been good enough. That's why he didn't come back. But what we don't realize is that he might not have came back simply because the music that was played or what was on the TV or the conversation you were having with everybody else while he was in the chair or the fact that you took too long on the cut,
a big one,
or the fact that you were late. If he made an appointment, you were late for the appointment, right? So there's all these other variables that play into it. But barbers, we just think, I got to get better at cutting hair. I got to get better at cutting hair, right? And I would never say don't try to get better at cutting hair. Of course, I want you to be nice with it. I'm nice with it. Will's nice with it. I want you to be nice with it, right? Of course. But understand that what the client sees is nice in quality and what you see is nice in quality and what me and Will see as nice as quality is a whole bunch of totally different things, right? So while you're sitting there taking an extra 20, 25, 30 minutes to try to put out this blurriest fade, there are going to be so many times where that person in your chair is wondering what the hell you're doing because the last time they seen it in the mirror, it looked like you were just about done. And now you've been perfecting the cut, trying to do the blurry fade. And in your mind, you're thinking they're going to love it because you're really detailing it. In their mind, they're thinking, what are they doing? They keep going over the same spot. It doesn't look no different. I thought the haircut was done. I just texted my girl. I told her the haircut was just about done. That was 25 minutes ago. And now all of this stuff is taking place. Right. And at the end of the day, what you have to understand, bro, is that all that matters is that the client thinks the fade is a high quality fade. So I would say, you know, if you want to put out the blurriest fade, you want to invest in the right equipment. You want to invest into, you know, there's programs out there teach you how to cut hair. There's YouTube for free, right? And then you just got to get your reps in. That's going to help you get better. But don't get so lost in putting out the blurriest fades that it starts messing up your business. And I know Will want to add on to that. So I'm going to let.
Here's the thing. The nine out of 10 clients don't know they got a good haircut or not.
Yeah.
They really don't.
They say most people can tell the difference between a good haircut and a bad haircut. Very few could tell the difference between a good haircut and a great haircut.
Great cut. And they're basing it off of the reaction they get from other people. That's their research, right? I don't know how many times I probably cut somebody and I'm like, hey man, how is it? He said, well, the wife will tell me when I get home.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just what they're going to do, right? So the blurriest fade thing, right, is like, I want you to always be working on your skills, right? And always be trying to get better. But as Marv said, you don't want it to mess up your business, right? You don't want it to mess up your business. So do a good haircut. And here's a tip too. If you take too long, the client thinks you did it wrong.
Say that again.
If you take too long, the client thinks you did something wrong. For real. So while you're taking long thinking you're perfecting it, they're thinking like, yo, does he not know what the hell he's doing? If you take too long, the client thinks you did it wrong.
It's interesting, man, because when we first start out, we know that when we're doing our first few haircuts and it's taking 2.5 hours, 3 hours, we know that once we get better, we get it down to now an hour and a half. And then we get a little bit better. We get it down to an hour, right? It's like we know that the reason we were taking so long was because we weren't as good, you know? And then for some reason, we get to a point as a barber where we start thinking like, all right, now I'm taking an hour, hour and a half because I'm perfecting the cut, not realizing that these other people are still thinking like how you used to think that you're taking so long because you're just not that good. You got to remember, a lot of people are going, let's say they're going to Sports Clips or Great Clips or some of these other barbers that may have jacked them up or whatever, or maybe not, maybe they did something else that they didn't like, so they ended up finding a new barber, but they're used to getting their haircut done in 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and now they sit in your chair for an hour and 15, and you're perfecting the cut. They're thinking like Will said, like, what are they doing? You know,
exactly.
Why is it taking this long?
Just the best research is listening. I think barbers make a big mistake because we don't have very good communication skills. And the number one communication skill in the world is listening. We don't listen to our clients. If you listen to your clients, they'll tell exactly what they want. Oh, I just popped in and get a quick cut on my lunch break before I go to work this morning. Oh, I stopped in right quick. I need to get a quick cut. Me and the wife about to hit this 7:00 movie. Every time I talk to a person, yo, I just popped in, see if I can get a quick cut. Yo, you think I can slide in the chair right quick? I don't know how many times you look on TikTok, you see Marv in his videos. Yo, you think I can grab a quick cut? You know what I mean? And Marv is like with his barber smock on. I don't know, bro. It's going to be an hour. You got time? Like everybody is quick cut. That's what they want. It's a quick cut. It's what they want. Quick and quality. Quick and quality. That's what they want. You can give them that, man. Then you might get the $100 a cut because they're like, yo, bro, appreciate that. Like you came in the clutch. I don't know how many times people have done that because if you get them done in and out quick, they'll pay you whatever it costs. I mean, you think about celebrities, right? They're like, yo, I need to grab a quick cut right after practice. I used to cut years and years ago. I used to cut Mike Bibby when he played for the Hawks. And Mike used to be like, yo, I need to get a quick haircut because my massage therapist is coming at 2:00. He used to practice from 10:30 to 12. I used to meet him at his spot at 12:30, be done by 1:30 because she was coming at 2. And this was 15 years ago. He paid me $100, $120 every time. But I had to be precise on Thursdays. Because if you know NBA schedules, they got home games. It's Tuesday, Friday, whatever. So you should be like, yo, every Thursday I need you here at 12:30. And at 12:15, I was in the garage. Because I had to get stuff done and it had to be quick and it had to be efficient. That's what they pay for. Done right and quick and efficient. They all in the same family. Quick, quality, efficient. It's all in the same family.
I love it. Dropping bars. I want to pin up this question. Cuts by Chief. He's in our course. He's in the course family, and he's been crushing it, man. He's been grinding, and he's got a good question. I want you to dive into this. He says, I'm only 14 months into the industry. He's been grinding. This dude works, right? He's currently at a shop, but considering going to Sweet Life. He has a decent amount of clients and already a pension, life insurance, health insurance. Do you still think that's a bad idea to go to Sweet route, basically?
My question is, why the Sweet? It's my question. Right? So I always like to ask a question with a question because if I just make a blanket statement, then all you're going to come back with is more questions, right? And more like rebuttals to that, right? So if I say, what is the reason for the Sweet? Like things have to make sense. And then the next question, what I would ask after that is, what is the long-term goal? As a businessman, you don't want to think 6 months from now, a year from now. You want to think in terms of 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now. What does that look like? So if you can answer me those questions and you like those answers, then I would say sure. Me personally, as I get older, I want to get lighter on my feet. And what that means to me is less work to do. Right? If I'm lighter on my feet, that means I'm making more money in passive ways. That means more people are contributing to my income than me. That's how we become financially independent and then ultimately financially free. So I would ask, why the Sweet? And then what does that look like 5 and 10 years from now? So.
Okay. I love it. I love it. I think he tapped into everything. I just, to just piggyback off of some of what he said and everything. It's just, when it's just challenging, man, because when you're in the Suite cutting hair, you're making money. When you're not in the Suite and you're not cutting hair, you're not making any money. Nope. So if you can figure out a way to leverage the Suite you know, you got people like Los Cut It, for example, right? So he's
Mm-hmm.
got his studio. It's
Right.
just it's very nice. He's doing all types of stuff in there, photography, videos,
Yeah.
cutting hair. I think he's got somebody else in there cutting with him. He's creating content in there. So it's a hub for him to be able to do a lot of different things, right?
Right.
So even when he's not cutting hair in his suite or studio, he
Right.
still has other ways to use that studio to help him make money, right? He could create
Right.
a course, he could do a virtual class, he could do an in-person class,
Right. Right.
right? So, you know, you just got to keep some of that in mind when you
Right.
if you do decide to go to the suite route. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
if I'm in here cutting, I'm making money. When I'm not,
Right.
how else am I supposed to
Right.
make money? When you have a shop, right? You know, you have a shop,
Mm-hmm.
you're in the shop cutting hair, you're making money.
Mm-hmm.
When you're not in the shop, whether it's
Right.
commission or booth rent,
Right.
you're still making some money, right?
And
The other barbers are
yeah,
selling products and stuff in there. You know, like there's other ways to make money. It's just
exactly. And that's what I would say about with Los Cut It, right? He's probably got the best business model for that. But even still, he got another barber in there cutting.
right.
Because it's this basic simple rule, right? In business. I was taught this a while ago. One of my clients is a Harvard grad, got like 5 degrees, different business, Harvard, Morehouse, all type of stuff. He said, "Will, here's the thing. When you pay for a space commercially, you pay per square foot." Right? He said, "So every square foot of that business should be making you money."
Mm.
Right? So Los got that. He's got 2 chairs in there. I bet you when he's not using them, somebody else is. Because them square feet, if he's not using it, they're not making money. That's the business side. That's what I tell people, like business savvy people understand money going out, money coming in. You want as many people as possible contributing to your income as possible for as long as possible. That's just the reality. It just is what it is. And then you have to be okay with turnover. Every company has it. Barbershop owners, you get so butthurt. Man, these barbers ain't loyal. Bro, they spent 3 to 5 years with you. Was y'all getting married? Right? That's why recruiting pipeline, right? NBA, Joker play that not NFL, not for long. The average NFL career is 3 years. Are they mad? No, because they got a farm system. You got to build your pipeline. That's why sports run the world. Because they're like, okay, if you won't, somebody else will. John Morant, you want to act a fool? Okay, cool. We're going to suspend you. Play with us some more. You'll be out the league. Because they can replace you. If they can't replace you, then it becomes a problem. It is what it is. So, like, you want as many people contributing to your income as possible. And you get that by serving more people, right? It's like, okay, I have people at my shop. If they're there 3 to 5 years and say, hey, Stan, won't you help me get my own shop? I don't hold them with me. You know why? Because there'll be 20 students graduating next year. Can I fill their seat? Of course. Right? Does everybody win? Of course. That's all business is, win-win scenarios. So you never want to be the only person contributing to your income. Warren Buffett, if you don't want to believe Will Stan, believe Warren Buffett. He said, never rely on a single income. If you are in a suite, you are relying on a simple, singular income. Right? Now, barbershop, well, if I'm renting a booth, what's the difference? You're a product of the product. If I went and owned a suite for 2 years and then tried to come back and own a barbershop because I learned better, now everybody's looking at me like, yo, bro, you was heavy on the suite life. What made you change? So now you got a whole bunch of credibility questions. It's okay to become a product of the product. That's the real formula, right? If I wanted to own a restaurant, I'd go work in one. I'd be the bus boy. I'd be the waiter. I'd be on the cooking line. I'd do something. I got to do something in part of the restaurant because I got to know the business model if I want to own it. So if you in 5 years say, well, I want to go to a suite now and then come back and own my own barbershop, if that's your answer, I'd say, no, don't do it. If you say this barbershop is toxic, I'm losing clients left and right, the leadership is poor, the location is bad, I don't even know how I built the clientele here, I need something different, I tell you, go look for a better barbershop. If you say, I'm just a loner, I want to be locked in a room, you know what I'm saying, just me and my clients, I don't mind cutting for 30 years, I just want my own peace of mind, then I say, go do it. But understand what you're signing up for.
So, Will, I'm gonna ask you
Yes.
because we were supposed to wrap it up by now. Do you got another like? Because I'm enjoying this conversation. If the people want it, do you got another to 10 o'clock in you?
I
Like
do.
another
I got
26
it.
minutes?
I got it.
All right, so let me know in the chat. Should we go for another 26 minutes? I think I think this conversation is much needed and it's very valuable. So if you guys are open to or having us go for another 26 minutes, we'll wrap it up at 10. Let us know in the chat. The one thing I do want to tap in on real quick because I think we touched the button on my man Ben the Barber 01 because he's kind of going ham right now on the sweet thing. So I want to put up some of his comments. And I want you to share your thoughts and perspective on it because, Ben has his view of it, which is it's not a wrong view, but I just want you to share some of your thoughts on what he's saying. So I'm going to try to find where he started because he started going ham. First one, he says, the studio is better than working in somebody else's shop, though. But yes, in future, you can get a space. You can have other barbers come work for you to create passive income. Then he said a studio is basically great fit for a barber, though, that wants to be to perfect his brand and create an experience for his personal client. Not every barber has to own a shop or work at someone else's shop. Then he says sometimes having people work for you is stressing, and though it reduces costs money-wise, it may cost you more because of peace of mind. Everyone, you don't need to have employees. He's telling everybody, you don't need to have employees if you a barber. And then he says something about, you can have a small business. Everyone don't have to go big. Some people happy small. What are some of your thoughts on what he said? What stood out to you?
I mean, basically, he's saying do whatever you can tolerate. He gave you the up, down, like he gave you the buffet. You pick what you want. I'm just telling you what I picked that makes sense to me because ultimately I'm free. That's all I'm saying. I do what I want to do because I have a choice. I'm not saying he's right or wrong. Right? If you don't want to manage people, cool. Right? I'm not knocking that. It just limits your potential, is what I'm saying. You're only one person. There's only 24 hours in a day. You are entirely responsible for your entire income. You understand? I haven't been to my Smyrna shop in 9 months. I'm embarrassed to tell you how much money I made off of it. If I didn't go to a suite in 9 months, I'd be in the negative.
Can you just say that one more time?
I haven't been to my Smyrna shop in 9 months. And I'm embarrassed to tell you how much money I made off of it. And if it was a suite, I'd be trying to get somebody in it or get rid of it. That says a lot. I'm not saying you can't go that route. I'm just saying you don't want to be the only person responsible for your income. You don't. Not as you get older. You want to walk lighter. You want to walk lighter. And that means, like they said, the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. Like these is the millionaire people talking, man. I'm not telling you something I made up. I come from a broken home. I graduated high school with a 1.3 GPA. I'm not that smart. I just follow the smart people. My mom wasn't around. I never met my father. I built it from out the mud. I'm telling you what works and what don't. We can change it to whatever industry. You want to go drive trucks? Cool. But if you had 6 trucks on the road that were under your company and they was all dropping off loads and you was home asleep, how would you feel? You'd feel incredible. But if you was on the road 60 hours a week, even though you made money, how would you feel? You understand what I'm saying? If you want to grow a large scale business, you need a team, man. Every business has it. It's not something I'm not trying to discourage you. I'm telling you, think long term. And nobody's probably told you that.
I just got to say thank you to Savage Surge real quick. I've never had anybody buy money on a live, like do $2. I don't know what that even is, bro. But I just want to say thank you because you the first person to ever do this on a live. So I see he $2. I don't really know what that means. But I know it means that he getting a lot of value out of this conversation. So I just wanted to say thank you real quick for that. Will, can you,
and then,
you got, go ahead.
This belief that higher paying clients want privacy. If they did, they want you to go to their house.
Speak on it, Will.
Like, come on, man. Like the average guy who you don't know is a millionaire or whatever, he wants to come in and be in the mix with regular people. You don't even know who he is. Why does he even care? You mean you can't hook up a steamer and put some enhancements on somebody because there's somebody 3 feet away from you? Come on, man. That's not realistic. I go right in my barbershop and cut people, and they pay me $100, and the people across from me can validate it. And I give them a shampoo and whatever other conditioners or whatever I need to use to give them a quality shampoo experience. I give them a haircut, and that's it. I'll see you in a week or two. I promise you, man, 15 years, it's worked like gold. 40 minutes, they out of there.
So and when Ben's got a great question too. Can you what's your response to this? Because he goes, how do you have the shop working without being present? What is your system? So I'm assuming he's talking about the one that you haven't been to in a minute that's still creating income. What's the system?
All right. Y'all ready for that? We're gonna be talking till 11 o'clock at night, I promise you, because this about to get crazy. I'm telling you. All right, so I got 2 barbershops. Both of them got 10 chairs in it, right? I have a manager at each location. My managers, they've worked underneath me for 2 years. They've worked side by side with me. They grind with me, right? You always going to have 1 out of every 10 that they get it, right? They're both excellent. They both make over 6 figures. They charge $40 and $50 a cut. They do haircuts every 30 to 40 minutes. They're off pretty much at 2 o'clock. They come in at 6 like me. They followed exactly what I've done because they saw it work, right? So I went to them after a couple years, right? I made them managers. And when they're managers, they don't pay any rent, right? So imagine owning a barbershop where you don't pay any rent and you get to collect all the money. You ain't got no overhead, no risk, no nothing, right? So, okay, that's pretty attractive. But I want passive income. Okay, cool. All right. So I went to both of them and I said, listen, both of you guys are qualified to own your own barbershop. You book just like me. You do a great job. You can do all the haircuts. It's not an issue. I said, but here's one thing I want to make sense to you. You right now can go own a barbershop. You've been with me 4 years. You deserve it. I said, but here's what I want you to understand. If you go out there and open up a barbershop, you're going to open up a barbershop with a $3,000 to $4,000 overhead. You're going to put 10 chairs in there. You're going to need probably at least $250 a week rent, market rate. Cool, right? I said, but the problem is, you see how hard it is for me to find licensed barbers? Competing against me and me competing against you is going to be even harder for both of us. So here's what I want to do. Here's my proposal to you. I'm going to go and open up a barber school to build all of us a pipeline. It may take me 2 to 3 more years to do it because I got to put some things in place to create some real estate, some passive income that will allow me to walk away from $130,000 behind the chair. Are you willing to buy into that vision and trust me to follow through on it? Both of them looked me in my face and said, absolutely, because I understand what you're talking about. And I want to buy a house for my family first. Cool deal, right? So then I proceeded to deliver on the vision that I created for them as part of being a quality leader, right? So I went and did it. The school is built. Next summer, you'll see my first manager who's been with me for 7 years as of July 5th. Next year will be 8 years. He'll be in his own barbershop. And I'm going to help him. He saved up the money because he hasn't paid rent to me for 4 years. And he's made well over 6 figures. He works Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and he don't work past 2 o'clock. His name is Caddy. He's in Smyrna. If you don't believe me, go in there and talk to him. Right? And we've already been talking about locations because I got 17 students with another 10 probably starting in August that will be finished in a year next summer. He'll go open up a shop, and some of my recent graduates who need a shop to go start in will join his team because both of my shops right now are 90% full. And all I asked him to do over the next 10 months is train somebody to take his spot. A fair exchange is no robbery. The real game and expansion is leadership. The reason why barbers want to go and into suites is because they don't want to deal with people. They need to learn how to lead, and it'll solve all their problems. But in our culture, we do barber battles, and we're egotistical, and we got to be number one. We have to have the blurriest fade in the game. And that's not a shot at you, my man. You just don't know what you don't know. This is our culture we grow up in, an individualistic culture. Let me drop a gem on you. Collaboration happens at the top. Competition happens at the bottom. So while we're all focused on competition, we're acknowledging that we're at the bottom. Collaboration is what happens at the top, and it's how big brands grow larger.
Bro, I'm letting you go because I know you locked in. Like you tapped into that frequency right now. It's just rolling. So I'm just letting y'all, I'm just letting you go. I just want to be yelling barbers, but the best thing I can do is just be like, you know what I mean? So I'm just letting you rock. I do want to give me 1 second real quick. I just want to shout out because this first time this happened, Will. So I got to shout out the love, man. I don't want to butcher your name, but they just did $1.99 too for I don't even know what they're buying. Probably something I set up a minute ago. But I just want to say thank you for that as well. Yeah. And then after you're gonna say what you're gonna say, I want you to elaborate on what he's saying too, or she. They're saying I work at a great shop, but I have a 35% percentage. So I want you to share your thoughts on that too.
All right. So the 35% I'm assuming is what your take home, and the other person gets 65%.
I would hope not. I would hope it's the shop gets 35 and they take home 65. That's what I would hope.
She said I have 35%. So that concerns me.
Yeah, that's very concerning. so we'll see if he comments on it.
Yeah.
But if it's the other way around, which I'm hoping it is, where he's saying he has to pay.
Well, I had someone tell me his take home was 47% the other day. So I was like, oof.
So what would you say? Okay, so let's talk about it then. So if somebody's in a shop, let's say they're still pretty new, right?
Right.
Hold on, we got to shout out my man real quick. He before I get into it, he just did I don't even know what this is, bro.
Millionaire Barber, shout out to you, bro. Golly, man. Shout out to him, man.
And this is a man right here. Let me just number one say thank you. Appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you,
bro. Showing love, man. And he don't need no introduction.
Nah, this man is doing his thing, crushing it, doing a phenomenal job in the barber industry. And I'm trying to tell you guys, he's an example of somebody where for those of you guys that get wrapped up in engagement and likes and all of the social media stuff, right? Like I do my course, I do my best to teach y'all strategy. And I do my best to change and shift your mindset so that you can start thinking like he thinks, right? Because what I mean when I say that is if you go on his page, you're not going to be blown away by his engagement, right? You're not going to be like, yo, his page is popping like crazy. But this man last year stood on a stage of an event that me and Will went to. And he was gifted, not even gifted, he earned a plaque.
Keyword earned.
It was a 2 Comma Club award, meaning he generated over $1 million through the system of the event, the software that they used. All right. Yeah. And you guys would look at his social media or watch him when he goes live, and you're like, there's only a few people watching. Social media ain't popping like that. Bro, this dude generated over $1 million through that software last year. So he's grinding, he's working hard, he's paving the way for barbers to do some amazing things. And he just showed me a lot of love and Will a lot of love by doing the $9.99 thing. And I know Will wants to say something too. Yeah. So I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, I've never personally met Chindy, right? A millionaire barber. And he and me and him heard each other talking in a Clubhouse chat like months ago. You know what I mean? When Clubhouse had their little 3-month run.
Yeah, it was hot for a minute.
Know what I mean? It was hot for a little second, right? And we were just chatting, and you know, what I mean, he called me on one time, like to talk and answer some questions, and we kind of connected on there, man. But I did my research on him, and he's legit. And if I wasn't already deep in like school and kind of did all my homework before I even met the guy, I probably would have paid for his stuff. And that's just me keeping it G, because I'm a person like, yo, if you got the results, that's what I want at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? But obviously he hit me up a couple of times when I opened up the shop, like, yo, I see you doing your thing. It looks great and I'm proud to see it. And he was just like, yo, like, I have nothing but respect. So when you produce at a high level, no matter how you get it done, people respect it when they're on that level because they know what it takes to get there. You know what I'm saying? So when you see people like that, the admiration and respect for one another, it's automatic. It's kind of how me and Marv clicked. Like me and Marv spoke through social media a couple times, right? Met each other at a couple shows, and then we were sitting side by side at a conference. Like, yo, what are you doing here? He's like, no, what are you doing here? So it's just like, but you make eye contact, and you're like, bro, I get it. So shout out to Millionaire Barber, man. Shout out to him, man.
Yeah, we appreciate you, brother. So to circle back to the what you were gonna dive into a little bit before we showed him all that love,
Mm-hmm.
and Bopper's right. Will's preaching. I do just want to yell preach because my boy Will going in. What would you say to the barber that's in a situation right now where they're in a commission-based shop
Mm-hmm.
and they're getting either a 50-50 split or like you heard the other day, a 40,
Mm-hmm.
they're getting 47, the shop's getting 53. What would be your strategy for them? What would be some of your
So
insight?
my question is, what makes you comfortable with that? Like, because I believe, right, people are smart enough to make their own decisions. There was something that said this is okay. I need to understand what that is, right? Because I got a girl, she just switched to my shop, right? And she was at a salary commission based shop where they were paying her. And I said, what made you do that? She was like, well, Will, I moved here from Georgia or from, Wyoming or wherever, right? And I actually know where she's from. I'm just, giving an off brand name, right? So I'm like, okay. And she's like, when I moved to Georgia, she's like, I have children and I needed a steady income. Makes sense to me. Way too hard to move from out of state, get your feet wet in a city where you don't know anybody, trying to build on a booth rent model, right? So you need to go somewhere where you got a little bit of a guaranteed income. Cool. No problem with that. But then the next question comes, the same thing I asked the person that was in the suite. What does this look like for you 5 years from now? Is it more of the same? If it is, then we need to start thinking about an exit strategy already. See, the game plan has to be, most people, and this is why I always tell people, barbers, you got them for 3 to 5 years. Every 3 years, a person starts to get that itch where I need to see some sort of progress. They have to see some type of significant growth. Otherwise, they're going to make a drastic move because they want to grow. This is why I tell barbershop owners, if you want to keep a loyal team growing. That means the leader has to keep growing. But once we own a shop, we like, pump the brakes. I'm lit. Let me chill. This is my shop. Y'all see me. As soon as you start doing that, you're going down. Because you should be investing in your growth. You should be talking about expansion. People can buy into that. You know why? Because every time you expand, it opens up another seat for somebody to move up. And somebody to move up. People quit companies, corporate companies. You know why? Because they keep hitting that proverbial ceiling. They got to wait for somebody to die, quit, or retire before they can move up. So what do? They move to another building with a different logo at the top. They hop companies every 2 to 3 years. Why? Because they're searching for growth. If you want people to stay loyal to you, give them a reason to. So 5 years, what's the reward? Right? If there isn't none, we need to think about something else. If you say, all right, well, I'm going to start at 50%, but they told me I'm going to get a 10% commission raise on my end every year until I max out at 80%. Then I'm like, all right, that's okay. Commissionable scale. All right, that's doable. What else it come with? Benefits, pension. Okay, all right, well, maybe that works for you then. Right? But if you say, well, they told me 50-50 for as long as I'm going to be here, and they may give me, 2 weeks off every year, then I'm like, okay, we need to think about something else. So it just depends what the 5 year. I always think long term, because short term, it makes sense. So I can't argue with it. Right? If you move from Wyoming short term, and I'm like, man, that's dumb. Why would you do that? You gave me the answer. Short term, you needed a steady income. You're relocating your family. That makes sense. I'd be a fool to argue with you. But if 5 years go by and we're in the same spot, now we're insane for 5 years, right? I think it was Muhammad Ali that said a person that sees the world the same way at 40 as they did 20 has officially wasted 20 years. In business, that's 5, especially in the technology era. If you're looking 5 years down the line and ain't nothing changed, it's a definition of insanity. So we always got to look at the long-term goal. What's the game play? Any business model can work depending on what your game plan is. I had a lady tell me, she's at my shop now. She said, Will, when I got out of barber school, I went to Sport Clips. I said, why'd you do that? She said, because I wanted practice on straight hair. Made sense to me. And they give you training. It's basic training, but they give you training, and I got a whole lot of reps with no pressure. Made sense to me. How am I going to argue with that? The barber school she went to wasn't up to speed. She needed reps. Made sense. Right? Then she left. Now she does 100,000 at my shop. It makes sense. So
I want to speak on that real quick too, because I actually love that idea of going to one of those things for one of the like chain type of shops for the reps. In fact, when I graduated barber school, that was my vision, was I was going to work at something where they were going to pump in a lot of traffic, and I was going to be able to get a lot of reps in, because I knew in my mind that I was going to be able to get better with the more practice I got. And I knew that the more people that sat in my chair, I was going to be able to lock them in. So when the time came for me to do my own thing, I just had enough belief in myself that I was going to be able to really leverage that. So I think the problem with barbers is we want stuff to happen so fast and overnight.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
And that's the problem. Not realizing that if you did, for example, not saying to do this, right? Because there's a lot of different ways you could do it. You could be fortunate to land in one of Will's shops or a busy barber shop where your growth can be tremendous, right? But let's say you're in a spot where there aren't really that many good options of shops you can go to, and you're fresh out of school and you're new. You can really leverage a place like Sports Clips in the way that he's saying his barber did, to get your reps up, to get practice, get some training. And then once the option becomes available for you to either relocate to a spot where you had the potential to earn significantly more income, or you build up the confidence in that and you get enough education to do your own thing, you could be in a better position to do it. So, I'm sure that's one of those things that we can obviously have a long, in-depth conversation about it, but I think it's something that could be a very effective. I want to share this comment. Dontavius said, what's more marketing gems? Our business cards still in style. I see the merch, hats, shirts. What else am I missing? Well, first, you already know I'm going to plug my course, right? If you ain't in my course, I don't know if you are. If you ain't in my social media course, you need to get in it. That's one. Number two, Will's got a few different programs. He got a few of them. So you got to go to his page on Instagram and get all of his programs. There's going to be a whole lot of game in there for you. That's first and foremost. Be willing to invest in yourself in that way. Right. Business cards, for me, I love the digital business card. I use the Barber. I think that's dope. It's a card where you just tap people's phones or you have them scan the QR code. And by them doing that, it has all your information pop up on their phone. I think it's super dope because, number one, it makes me look cool. Right. Anytime I pull that thing out and I tap somebody's phone and they see all my information pop up, it makes me look cool. And I just think it's more efficient than walking around carrying business cards. The merch is always going to work. You got to remember, guys, when you're wearing a T-shirt that has a Nike symbol on it, all you're doing is being a walking billboard for that brand. You're literally advertising that brand. And I know
it's the biggest life hack in the world.
Bro, we're paying these companies to advertise them. It's insane when you really wrap your mind around that idea that we're paying these companies to advertise them. It should be the other way around. They should be paying you to advertise them. But that's the bamboozlement we've been tricked into, right?
Man.
So I say all that because whether it's the merch you get from my store, right, or it's some other barbering merch, or it's your own merch you create, at least by you wearing something that says, like I have in my store, I should be your barber, or you wearing your barber smock, or you wearing something that lets the world know you're a barber life, you are now turning yourself into a walking billboard for your business. right? Like if I'm in a location, this happened to me plenty of times, especially with this hat. I can't tell you how many times with my barber's hat where I'm checking out somewhere, no intent on promoting myself, but the person will say to me, I gotta ask, what's that mean on your hat? I know it says barbers. What is it? Are you a barber? And then what it leads to is a conversation where I ultimately end up promoting myself, right? But when I stop and think about it, if I were wearing a hat that had a Nike symbol on it, what's the chances that conversation comes up?
Never.
Right? So wearing merch that lets the world know you're a barber, while it doesn't have to be an everyday thing, it is something that can lead to some conversations even when you're not in the mood to promote. But with all that being said, at the end of the day, the most important thing for you to do is just implement what you already know, bro. Because the problem is a lot of times we become information junkies and we're always looking for that shortcut and the fastest way to do things. And there's things that we could be doing now that we don't do. So yeah, I recommend you join my course. Yeah, I recommend you purchase all the Will's programs. Yeah, I recommend you have some barbering merch and all of that. But ultimately, as you're learning different things and the things that you already know, the most important thing that you can do is actually implement the stuff. And it will work. If you work it, it will work. If you take a course and you don't implement none, it ain't going to work. If you buy a bunch of merch, you never wear it, it ain't going to work. If you are out and about and you have your business cards or a digital business card and you see an opportunity to promote yourself and you talk yourself out of it, it's not going to work. So don't just be addicted to information and allergic to execution. Yes, be addicted to information, learn some new stuff. You asked for more marketing gems. I just gave you some. Now it's on you to do something with it. And I know Will want to add a little bit onto it too.
Yeah. So one of the things that is like a hidden jewel, right? Nobody talks about this, right? Finding a micro influencer. We all want the celebrity so we can post it on Instagram and get other barbers to be like, yo, that's such and such barber. That cut is fire. But the person in your community is a micro influencer. He probably works for a nonprofit organization. He's probably serving and making relationships and connecting with high level people who donate money. Y'all ever realize that? Like people who make big money, they're the ones donating to foundations and all that, right? They're serving, right? I think they go together, right? You do stuff for free, you end up blessed. You're more fortunate than others because you're willing to sacrifice and not get paid for it. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you do like stuff like that, right? So, you find you a micro influencer. Micro is small, right? Macro is large. Micro influencer is your local influencer, right? Maybe it's the person, like, say you started cutting in high school. The most popular kid in high school has got all the influence, or the basketball player. Build your clientele. When I worked downtown Atlanta, I was cutting one of the players that played for Georgia State basketball team. I was in downtown Atlanta. Before you know it, I was cutting a whole entire basketball team and the coaching staff because I cut the best player on the team. I made him one of my best friends at the time. We hung out. I was 21. He was 19. We hung out. You know what I'm saying? Right. Then that matriculated into the person who was like the president of this fraternity or that fraternity on the college campus. And then I cut their hair, and then they posted that they got a haircut from me at the barbershop. And then, you know what I'm saying? Everybody was like, yo, where you go? Where you go? You know how young people are. Yo, where you go? Where you go? And before you know it, I was booked in like a year. And then I just maintained it. So a lot of times getting a micro influencer, the person people in your community know, but other barbers have no clue. Find you a micro influencer. That is a marketing hack. Because we all know what's the strongest form of marketing? Word of mouth. A micro influencer has influence and can change your life by word of mouth.
Bars. Go into the local businesses near where you cut hair and offer to cut the owner.
The manager. I used to take business cards early in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. I used to take them up to the Marriott downtown. High business people, they frequent. Hey, if you ever know anybody rushing needs a haircut quick, I'm open at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm the only person open at 6 o'clock in the morning. People are shocked when they hear, what? Oh, okay. I'll let them know. I'll take lunch, a couple $2.50 Chick-fil-A biscuits to the person working the front desk, the hostess. Hey, I just wanted to bring y'all some breakfast. Here's some orange juice. I'm the barber down the street, man. I'm new to the area. I just kind of wanted to let you guys know I'm here. $5. Now they're gonna be like, oh, you're looking for a barber? Yeah, there's a guy. As a matter of fact, his card's around here somewhere. because they remember the taste of that Chick-fil-A biscuit.
Mm.
Just do nice stuff for people, man. Relationships are the keys that unlock doors that you don't have keys for.
Mm. Bars.
I'm gonna give you another. I'll give you a prime example. Marv, me and Marv, we connected, right? We created a little, you know what I mean, vibe. We see things together, right? One of Marv's industry guys throws a hair show, right? Like an event in Atlanta. He called Marv, was like, yo, I want you to judge the battle. And Marv can tell me if I'm lying. Marv says, man, I don't really want to do barber battles, but I'll do it under one condition, that you let Will do it with me. It happened in November. I didn't know the guy. He was like, oh yeah, I know that dude. Yeah, sure. Anytime. Boom. And then before you know it, I was hosting with Marv. I'm in this city. I know a lot of people in the city, but I didn't know that guy. I was doing that barber battle with Marv. Don't you know some of those people sent in applications to come to my school?
Mm.
That was just Marv doing me a solid because I called Marv and we did a class last year. We both made money. After that, it was like, all right, Will did me a solid. I'm going to do him a solid. Relationships. Otherwise, I'm not there.
Mm.
Just call a spade a spade. Is that facts, Marv?
That's 100% facts. And it's relationships, bro, are so powerful. I love the example of this that Andrew Tate gave in an interview back that I listened to, right? And he said that he could never go broke again, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he could never go broke again. And the reason why is because he has a network of 5,000 people that are high profile people.
Yep.
Right. So even if he lost all his resources, he would never be broke again. And he was explaining that point because he was trying to emphasize the power of having a network and the power of relationships. And then I heard another example of this when I was watching somebody live. I forget who it was, but they said they asked the person they were live with. They said, yo, you got rich right now, right? You got a lot of money. You're doing a lot of great things. He said, what would you do if you lost it all today? What would your next step be if you lost it all today? And he said, I would get to work and start building it back up. He said, I built it once already. I could build it again.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I have the confidence to do that because I did it once. I know I could build it again. And he's like, all right. And so then he asked him, he said, well, what would you do? He said, me? I'd make a few phone calls and I'd get all the money I needed and I'd be right back up and running just like that. Yeah. He said, I wouldn't start from where I started from. I wouldn't build it back up in the way I first built it. I'd make a couple phone calls and we gonna be right back where I was right before I lost it. And he shared that story because, again, he was trying to emphasize the power of relationships. And what we all need to wrap our mind around is the idea that relationships are just significantly more valuable than money. And what I would add to that is don't hesitate to buy your way into relationships. Bro. Don't hesitate to spend money to put yourself in a room to get around some people that you can form relationships with. In fact, with Jay Majors, right? We have a relationship now. My relationship with Jay started when I asked him to host an event I did back in, I think, 2016, the New York State Barber Expo. I asked him how much would it be to host this event. He told me his number. We worked it out. He ended up hosting the event, right? Now we have a great business relationship where I've spoke at the CT Barber Expo. I'm speaking at the Las Vegas Barber Expo. Jay's put me on with a bunch of stuff with Squire, different things with Babyless, and we have a relationship now. And I can argue that I paid my way into that, right? There's different rooms I've been in, educational rooms where I paid for the ticket to get in the room, where in that room I end up meeting somebody, shaking their hand, getting to know them. We now have a relationship, right? So don't hesitate, guys, to spend the money to buy a relationship and build.
That's how people test your mettle. And when I say mettle, I mean METTLE.
Yeah,
that's how people test your mettle.
What does that mean for people that don't know what mettle
is? It's almost like testing your gut, right? Like testing your core. Like, who are you for real, right? And the easiest way to find that out is see if somebody's willing to give up their cash.
Put your money where your mouth is, bro.
Right, exactly, right. So it's like the same thing you did, Marv. I did that with you when I called you and I was like, yo, Marv, I seen you did a class in Dallas. I seen you did one in Florida. I was like, would you mind doing one in Atlanta for social media? Marv was like, bro, I don't know if my reach is like that. I got good reach in Texas and Florida. Atlanta, I ain't sure. I ain't never really did much out there. I said, well, I got an Airbnb downtown. You can stay there for free. We can set up about 50 chairs at this barbershop that I own. All you got to do is spend $250 on a flight. I got the rest. Is that worth the risk? He's like, what can we sell tickets for? I said, probably about $75. I said, do you think we can sell 3 so your flight's covered? He said, no, I definitely think we can do that, bro. I said, for sure, I can sell 3.
We couldn't do that. We got a problem.
Right, exactly, right? So I said, well, then is it worth it to you? He was like, send me pictures of the space. Like, he was still a little reserved because people have had him in some shady rooms before. So I said, all right, here's pictures. Here's this. This is the condo, yada, yada, yada. Yes or no? He was like, let's run it, bro. He said, I like the setup. I like the offer. Hey, what do we got to lose? Cool. And then we came and it sold out. That was me doing the same exact thing. Why? I respected what Marv was talking about. I watched his body of work. I took his social media class during the pandemic, got value. So what I did was I spent my money to validate who I thought Marv was. And then I said, okay, I know what I got. I find it valuable. Some other people, if they paid, they think it would be valuable because I thought it was valuable, because I know if I bring Marv out, my credibility is on the line too. So I had to validate him first. Here's what most barbers don't understand. You're always on trial. So be careful about the decisions you make. Following an influencer online that you haven't validated just because you heard him say it is risky. Go buy his course before you start taking his advice. Buy something. You need to validate your source. And on the other side of business, right? This is what we do. We qualify buyers. Somebody will sell you something for $10. If you like what you get, they qualified you. You qualify them. It works both ways. But we hear somebody online say, yo, I can cut this person. They take a picture. Now all of a sudden they're validated. No. You have to be careful about internet testimonials. Spending money is always worth it because it validates the yes or the no. That's all we ever want. Yes, I can rock with this dude. No, I can't. If it cost you $100 to get that answer, it was worth it.
I agree. And what I would add to that too, because I always recommend to people, right? Like, there's a couple points I want to just make real quick as I can make them. If you are somebody that is willing to invest into information and invest into yourself and invest in acquiring skills, right? What I would say is we are in a time where there are so many people that you can come across to where they got a lot of free content out there, right? So consume their free content, do your best to apply what they're teaching you in the free content. And then if it comes to a spot where they're offering a mastermind or a masterclass or a webinar or a course, if they done given you a lot of value in the free content as it is, what do you have to lose to spend a little bit of money with them? Right? It's like people with me. People have been listening to my podcast, my YouTube channel, all of my free content on Instagram. So I've given enough game through that to where now when I say, hey, come sign up for the course, you don't learn a lot for free as it is. I have people that even signed up for the course just to say they felt like they needed to pay me back for everything.
I'm one of those people, Marv. I'm one of those people. I'm like, yo, Marv, I done got a lot of game from Marv. I'm like, yo, bro, here's some money. Then I just started doubling and triple down, like, yo, like, let's do another class so you can make more money. You know what I mean? Because I may call Marv, like, yo, what type of equipment I need? He's like, yo, bro, get you this.
Yeah, I'm open book, right?
So I'm like, yo, anytime I need something, I can call him and he delivers. So I'm like, yo, he got this. All right, look, here, what is it? I mean, here you go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And so to reiterate what I'm saying is, like Will was saying, you got to, number one, identify if this person is credible enough to speak on what they're talking about, right? Do your homework, do your research, then consume their free content, right? And if you're getting a lot of value, what do you got to lose by investing into one of their classes or one of their courses, right? I can't tell you how much I've spent on information, right? Will can't tell you how much he's spent on information. And one of the main reasons why I spend on information is because I know how I am as a person. And what I mean when I say that is this: I hate feeling like I'm wasting my money, right? So if I if I spend money on something, I'm going to do my best to like utilize it just because I don't want to feel like I wasted my money. Right.
Yep.
Like think about this conversation, for example. Y'all are getting all of this game for free, right?
Right.
For free. Now, if we're just being real, most people that tapped into this are not going to apply a lot of this, right? Because it was a free conversation. I know you're all going to say I'm going to, but most people aren't. It's just natural human nature. Right?
Yep.
But if y'all spent $10,000 for this conversation,
oh, you'd apply every bit.
You would apply every bit. You'd be taking notes. You'd be doing your best to implement things, right? So what I say to you guys is this: if you're the type of person that hesitates to spend money because you don't want to feel like you're wasting your money, that is literally a hack to help you accelerate your growth quicker. Because if you spend money on something, a course, a class, an event or something like that, you're going to be a lot more likely to take advantage of it because you don't want to feel like you wasted your money. And I see my boy Will starting to get a little tired. I can't front. I am too. And we went a lot longer than I planned. So this is what I'm going to say to y'all. We're going to do probably another part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of this, right? But what I will say is I want to bring up a few things real quick because I know you guys got a lot of value out of this. Matter of fact, let us know in the chat the value you got out of this. Number one, I want to make sure that you guys, if you haven't done so already, all go follow Will Stam. All right, all go follow my boy Will. All right.
I need to get to 70K, man. I've been stuck on 69 for it.
We're about to get to 70K. Go follow Will. All right. And I will tell you that you're going to get a lot of value, not only from his page, but we're talking about courses and programs and stuff. Click the link in his bio. Click where it says online fundamental courses. All right. And what's going to happen when you click that, I'll pull it up for you guys real quick, is this is going to pop up. Stam School. All right. Go get home. The financial fundamentals, the foundations of fading, right? The clientele builder. This is all stuff where this is not even you spending money. This is an investment you're going to make back so quick, just simply because of the information you're going to learn. Number one. Number two, it's a tax write-off. All right, let's not forget that. It's a tax write-off. So this is not actually costing you anything. In fact, by you not spending the money for some of these tools, you're literally losing out on money, right? And I'll give you a simple analogy of that. I know somebody that was going to join a $150,000 mastermind group last year. They weren't able to do it because they took too long to sign up, so they had to wait till next year, right? You and I would look at that and say, well, they saved $150,000. No, that's not how they seen it. The way they seen it was they missed out on millions, because by them being a part of that $150,000 per year mastermind, they're now surrounded by multi-millionaires. The knowledge that they were going to learn was going to have such a significant return on that $150,000 invested. So I say that because where you're looking like, I might have to spend 97, by you not spending it, you might be potentially costing yourself thousands. All right. Now, Will, do you do like a package for all of these, or they buy them separate?
I just buy them separately, but I make them all underneath $100 because I'm like, yo, if a person can't invest $100 in their own growth, there's nothing else I can do to help you.
Yeah, facts.
I'm not charging you $1,000. It's less than $100, and I will guarantee you this: if you don't get value, I'll give you money back. It's my guarantee.
I love it. So look, guys, you got some investments to make, because that's one you got to make. And then listen, y'all talking about some marketing and social media and all of that. You already know I got to let you know about the course, bro. So come join the course. Got a social media course, right? We also got a booked up barber masterclass. It's a 5-part webinar series. Right now I'm running a thing where if you use 50, the code get 50, you get 50% off of that. And then we got the hats, the shirts, the merch, all of that. All right.
Let me just say this about Marv's class, right? Marv did an unbelievable job talking to you about my stuff. But when I connected with Marv, I had about 15,000 followers. I'm up to 70, right? And that's since February 1st. I didn't have a TikTok in February, and there's almost 84,000 followers on TikTok. I learned everything I know about social media and marketing from Marv. I don't got nothing else to say.
I will add, because Will puts in the work. Guys, these programs and this information y'all learned tonight, at the end of the day, it's only going to work if you're willing to work. If you're trying to get in better shape, I can give you the best diet. I can give you the whole exercise routine months in advance. But if you don't actually get in the gym and do those push-ups, you don't actually say no to that pizza, ain't nothing going to change. So what I want to leave you guys with is take the information you guys learned tonight, do your best to implement it. All right. And then as far as the extra programs that you guys could access, if you feel like you want to learn even more, make sure you click the link in Will's bio on Instagram and click the link in mine and take advantage of those resources, bro. I'm telling you, Will's stuff is life-changing. And, you know, I mean, Will, I appreciate the love when it comes to the social media.
Hey, man, I just tell the truth, man. There's no cap in my rap. None. I have no interest. I tell people all the time, man, if you think I'm lying, just pull up. You can pull up. I'm at the barbershop. I'm in the trenches with the people. It's where I love to be. Not standing on some soapbox. Me and Marv did this because we felt the need to address for barbers. We don't like seeing people get scammed and get misled and manipulated. That's no fun. When there's a real simplistic way to get it done that is obtainable for most people. Right? I'm a person. I want the way that makes the most sense. I ain't trying to be no rock star. I don't want to be that. Give me the simple way so I can just go over here, make my money, chill, and be free. And I ain't nobody got to know. I walk past people every single day. They're like, what? Him? That guy? Hi. It just is what it is, man. It's just there's an easier way, man. And Marv and myself will give you the way that is very simple in appetizer bite format, to where it's digestible content that you can use and apply. All right, Marv, I'm done, man.
Marv, I think Will got it out.
Will got
a lot of it out. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. If you're just tapping in at the end here, I am going to save this so you guys can rewatch it on YouTube. And I would even tell all you guys that watch this whole thing, go back and rewatch it so that way you can catch more gems the second time around that you might have missed the first time around when your mind was blown and you was thinking about.
I'm going to go back and rewatch this.
Yeah, I am too. So I appreciate y'all. Will, I appreciate you so much, man.
Thank you.
I
appreciate you, man. It was fun, man.
Yes, sir. More to come. So, guys, barbers. Y'all stay blessed.
Barbers.
Later, homie.
Peace.